Welcome to The Lady Killers, a feminine rage podcast. Hello and welcome to The Lady Killers, a feminine rage podcast. I am your host, Jennifer's Body Adams. And if this is your first episode or you just met me 5 minutes ago, I love Stephen King. Hi, I'm Jen. I'm a constant reader. I have a Stephen King book on my desk right now, and it is the one we're talking about today. I bring it up because I have been reading Stephen King books, the vintage ones, since I was a wee lass at the pool, and I have vivid memories of reading Cujo at the pool and Pet Sematary. Also, half of my books are waterlogged because a big wave would come and splash them. And
that's nice though, because then you remember exactly where you were at. Like if I spill coffee on a book, I'm like, oh, that was from this coffee shop.
That's my coffee time. Yeah, and I think Stephen King books are great to read at the pool too, because
they're good summer reads, beach reads.
They really are. They're page turn, and it's like the bright sunniness kind of counteracts the darkness. Also, if you're at the pool and you just want to feel bad,
And we love feeling bad at the pool.
It keeps certain people from approaching you too. They're like, I'm not going to talk to that weirdo.
Oh, I know. Oh, it did not keep Papa Jim from approaching me. I think I have talked about Papa Jim.
I've heard about Papa Jim.
Yes, he would approach me no matter what Stephen King book I was reading.
It probably enticed him.
It might have. He's like, she's freaky.
It's an either or scenario, yeah.
Freaky Nikki.
He's like, maybe I'll get her to do doggy style because she's freaky. I'm sorry. That's inappropriate.
No.
Papa Jim would never.
Papa Jim would, oh God.
He's
if I could tell you some of the stories Papa Jim told me about. Well, you know what? We'll save that for one day when we do
Papa Jim corner.
Our Patreon. Our future Patreon.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so we are beginning a new month, and it's a little bit of a transition because there is a mother in this movie.
Yes.
And, we like our transitions. We like going from witches to musicals with Wicked.
Seamless.
And, yes.
Nice.
Exactly. Seamless. Yes. Like a dog getting rabies slowly. We are talking about. Can y'all tell I have not recorded in a week?
It's been like a month for me. As I was setting it up, I was like, wait, this goes here. Like it was like my first day on earth again today.
I know. Mouth open, words come out.
Yeah.
The heat's getting to us. We're going to get a little loopy.
Oh,
I know, yeah.
Definitely.
So, yes, we are talking about animals attacking this month. And the first one is a poor doggy named Cujo. And I am joined by a fabulous car full of lady killer experts. Rachel, say hello. Show us your shirt. And also, what is your story with dogs?
Hi, Rachel Reeves here. Yes, I'm wearing the Cujo shirt, the artwork for Jen's book from the original Stephen King Cujo book.
Matchy.
Yes. And, it's so funny, Jen. This is not even our first time talking about this movie.
No, it's not.
Together.
I
on a pod.
Yeah, I think multiple times.
Yeah, we've done this before. But
3 times.
Okay, my story with dogs. Well, my dog is right here. He's blending into the rug, so you can't really see him, but he's
Oh my
here.
God, he really is. I didn't even know he was there.
You can always
He's
tell
right
by
here.
the flap. I can always hear the flap.
I grew up with dogs, got my first dog Speck when I was in kindergarten.
That's a good name.
And so I've had dogs ever since. Have never really been without them. My family is a very dog-oriented family. My mom does agility with her dogs.
Oh, wow.
Which is, she's got a whole agility course set up, in their back pasture. If no horses or pigs, which I'm always pushing for, or goats, but they just have a fancy agility course. And every time we get together for dinner, there's 5 dogs around. So it's just, and I you know what? I love it. I love that it's just that chaos. There's the floors are very clean.
Yes, that's the best part.
After family dinners. And then, Rambo, my current pup, he and Ripley both watched this movie with me, and I don't know, he might chime in with some thoughts later.
Did he like it, you think? Do you think they liked it?
I'm not sure. It was a little, I'm sure we'll talk about it because it is kind of a hard movie for me to watch, and just the juxtaposition of him, he was so sweet, curled up, head on my lap, and I was just
big
petting
guy too.
Yeah.
So
he's a big boy.
Yeah.
So just that odd, seeing this just rabies infested dog, and he's just so sweet on my lap. I'm like, this movie's hard.
It's not his fault.
I know. So yes, very much a dog person here.
Well, and Sammy, I feel like I already know the answer to this question because you and me and Mike have talked about this a lot. But tell us, what's your story with dogs? Also say hello.
Hello, this is Sammy G. Where are you, Rothman? Because Tad was watching Scooby Doo.
Yes.
He was.
And I really
like a
liked
young Jacob
that.
Elordi.
Yes, I was like, Tad, I get you. And I think at a certain point, he looked kind of like Gage in Pet Cemetery when like his eyes are under it. And so I was getting that vibe from him too. But I just loved that he was watching Scooby Doo because that is my favorite cartoon. But yes, this is quite the question for me because my story with dogs is ever growing and came to the biggest head I think I've ever had it a couple of years ago when I worked with them as a boarding and daycare facility. I've worked in like an official capacity in like a daycare facility with lodging and with training up in Northern California. And then I did also in Chicago. And then during COVID, I started my own walking and boarding business that I
didn't know any of this about you. I feel like my mind is blown. Like
yeah,
I'm finding
so
about a whole secret life I
had a
didn't know
Cubs
about.
player, like who was a San Francisco Giant first, and I was like stoked on that. But I had a lot of like I had to turn people away. I was walking or biking 6 miles a day. It was crazy. I think at one point we had like 5 dogs in our house. Like it was nuts. I was really weak and tired all of the time. Like I was just covered in bruises. And from the minute I woke up until the minute I went to bed, I was walking dogs in Chicago. And I named my business Wiggle Puppy Walkers, after Ralph's imaginary dog in The Simpsons. As he goes like, "Hi, I'm Wiggle. Oh, that's just Wiggle Puppy. Arf, arf." It's my favorite bit. I have a Ralph sweatshirt because I love that bit so much.
Ralph.
I had business cards made with the Wiggle Puppy like on it with Ralph on it. I'm sure that was a copyright issue, so I stopped giving those out, but I did save a couple. But yeah, I don't know how I did it. It was very fulfilling, but after years, the owners just really started to wear me down. And I had to pull the plug, so to speak, on the business. But my love of dogs goes on. The only dog I do not like is a Jack Russell Terrier. Also, doodles, they're not supposed to exist. I'm sorry, listeners. They are not supposed to exist. They literally, the person who made the doodle regrets it and says they're an abomination. I've worked with so many doodles where I had one time an owner, she killed herself because she had to be home with the doodle during COVID. It was awful. I'm not even kidding. Okay. I have a lot. Yeah. No, we had to tell her we can't take the dog anymore because we were closing. Right. And she was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm going to do with this dog. This dog, his name was Waffles. He was insane.
No, Waffles.
Yes. Waffles was like just a batshit dude. Like, and so we were like, we can't take him anymore. We're closing. And then he wasn't a good fit anyways. Like, so we were like, we can't take your dog. Yeah. And then like a week later, she was dead. She killed herself. No. So I can't help but feel like it was me turning the dog away.
Look, I think Waffles killed her and
Waffles did it. It was.
Right?
It was.
This is a scarier story than Cujo. Oh my god! At least Cujo had a reason.
He was
the waffle story.
Like he's a doodle gangster. Like hey, he's got a cigar coming out of his mouth. Like you'll never catch me, doggers.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that was a crazy story. I have infinitely crazy stories with dog owners. I think I have probably told you the biggest one is the woman that licked all of her dog's toys before she gave them to me for boarding because she wanted her scent to be on the animals, and I had to look at this bitch wearing full turquoise earrings and turquoise necklace and a matching turquoise shirt, lick her toys. And
how have I not heard a single one of these stories? Oh my god.
It's been years now. It has been like 4 years now since I stopped. And so I think I like have a little bit of PTSD.
I demand every dog story.
Oh, dude, there was one that like brought Dasani water bottles in. We could only give them Dasani water, and I was just like,
that's not. And then you have the owners. Water.
We are not all that nutty. Let me.
Yeah, I know that. As a former dog owner, I've like the hardest part about moving to Chicago and leaving my life was the 2 dogs that I had. I was a dog mom and I loved them very much. But then I became a dog guardian to many, many dogs, and I couldn't own them anymore. I couldn't do it anymore, you guys.
It's a lot.
It's okay to take a break.
Yes. And Mike really wants a dog. And my thing is that like until we have a yard, like I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's not fair to the dog because again, like having worked with dogs, lived in apartments in Chicago, those motherfuckers hated it. Like, unless you had one of those puppy mill eye booger white dogs that your grandma has, they don't like it. They're bored. They need a lot of structure, and that's why the daycares were so overfilled. I mean, fuck, we had like fucking 50, 100, like 120 dogs a day with 50 in each, like 50, 75 in each field. It wasn't a lot. It was a lot. So yes, I have a lot of dog stories. I have dog trauma.
Yeah.
And if you have any other questions, listeners, let me know, and I'll
I
let you.
have so many. I'm gonna ask you all of them. Oh my god!
You start to like learn stereotypes.
I'll do it off air, by the way. Don't worry, I won't
and,
take
like,
up Cujo time. But
I know.
Oh my
god!
but
like there are like with people and their kids, like fucking people and their dogs. Like there are certain stereotypes that certain people buy certain breeds, and certain breeds go to act certain ways. It's a lot. So take me my word for it. I'm sorry if we have any doodle owners, but. Maybe you got a good one, but
they're already long
probably
gone.
didn't.
You
probably didn't get a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I think when we first got to know each other, that was when you were in the thick of it, and I kept hearing. I think the first time we ever met in person was when you were taking a break from the dog walking thing.
I needed it. Yes, yeah. I became a shell of myself. I was so underweight and just like I was sick all of the time because it's like I was in the snow doing it all day. And
in Chicago.
I forgot about the snow. Oh my god!
I fell off my bike a couple of times, got clipped. There was one time where I had to like narrowly miss and I fell into the snow. It was a scary job, and I was it was technically unemployed because I was doing it all under the table. Sorry if you're listening, IRS, but I didn't make enough for you to come at me. But like, it was. So if something happened to me, there was nothing. Like I'd be fucked, and if something happened to the dogs, I'd also be fucked. So yeah, after a while, it was like. I can't do it anymore.
And that one dog got rabies that one time.
Yes, and tried to kill us.
Tried to kill you. We're kidding. That's the movie.
No rabies. Nothing like that. I mean, a couple of them got Giardia and stuff at the daycare, but that happens to puppies because they eat poop.
They do. Oh, yeah. I remember that when I had dogs.
Guys.
Well, Shelby, my fellow cat person, what is your story with dogs?
So I mostly had dogs growing up. Like, we always had 3 dogs at a time. Always.
Oh, wow.
Like at one point we had we mostly were pound puppies, but like we at one point had like a purebred border collie. My dad got my mom for
Lassie.
I think her birthday or something one year. She was so pretty, and like we always had dogs. One day my dad was at work and this kitten started following him in an alleyway. And now my parents have, since all of our dogs have passed, they've transitioned to cat people. I'm like Sammy, I've always wanted a dog, but in an apartment, I've always just felt like I ended up getting a cat because I was like, I want a companion, but also I just wanted a yard for a dog. I feel like I wouldn't be sufficient in giving the dog. I love big dogs too. I always grew up with like real big dogs. My favorite dog ever, his name was D'Artagnan after the Three Musketeers.
Cool.
When I was in school, I was in the FFA. I raised pigs. And we were at the fair one year. This is such a down home story. Like, God.
You're speaking my language now.
No, I love it. We had 4-H. Is that the same thing?
It's the same, basically. It's similar. Yeah. We were at the fair one year and someone had dumped a box of puppies at the fair in the mud. And so I went and got one and like put him in my jacket, and and he was so small and he became this huge floppy mutt of like unknown origin. He like when you looked at him every
kind though.
Yeah, he was the best dog. He was huge and he was amazing. Again, his name was D'Artagnan, which everybody was like, you named your dog that, and so everyone called him Dart. But he slowly, eventually, when I was an adult, I still remember where I was. My dad called me to tell me he passed away. I was on the set of the new Miami Vice show. Like, oh my God. And I was I was in a club scene. I was wearing a crop top and like a sequined mini skirt, and I was
had to go out and dance.
And it was so sweet though. There were some other girls there who saw my face, and I was like, my dad just had to put my dog
crying
down.
At the club, Shelby.
And they were like, oh my God, I love dogs too. So we had this like I love dogs circle of like sad girls in the middle of like everything, and it was kind of nice. But he lived to be very old. It wasn't like, it was one of those where like we knew his time was coming. But so I love dogs, and I would love to own a dog again. I would really love to. But since I'm like, it's just me, and I decided to go with the cat for now. But I do, in my heart and soul, I'm both. I'm both dog. And I would have said years ago, before I got my cat, I would have said I'm more of a dog person. But now I think I've evened out. to the middle.
Yeah.
I always had dogs growing up too because my dad was really allergic to cats. He was actually allergic to dogs too. So Misty, who was my miniature collie, so she just looked like a tiny little lassie. She was so sweet, but she was an outside dog. So I feel like I don't have I never got the closeness with her that I did with Charlie, who was my dog that I got a month before my first husband moved out. So I did a shit job of training him, and he was a fucking disaster. So sweet, super cuddly, but kind of snappy. He was a rat terrier and dachshund mix.
Oh my God.
Little
Super
Napoleonic complex.
It was a mess, like a diva, but he had these giant ears that stood up like that. He was super cute, but he was just a mess. And then he was super sweet, unless he was snapping at my new baby that I brought home, and I was like,
no.
oh. So
Because
he went
was
to
the baby.
I know. He was like,
Yeah.
you're not giving me attention. And again, I did a terrible job of it's not his fault. Like he could have been a great dog. He was super smart, but I don't know, the shit I had to try to trick him with to try to get him into his crate too, because he kept figuring it out, but this sounds like a lie. I swear it's not. He went with my father-in-law to live on his farm, so he got to live his doggy adventure life, and he would kind of.
It wasn't like a story because my dad told me my bunny also went to live on a farm, and Bun did not go to live on a farm.
Well, this one, Charlie did actually, and it's not actually a farm, but it was just a big thing of land. And we think he may have, succumbed to the wildness of the land.
They sometimes leave when they're, ready to pass. That's what my dad's dog did. He was a Jack Russell
Cats
Terrier.
do that too. They'll hide.
They will, yeah. And I do like dogs. I like being a dog aunt better. My brother has 2 dogs. They're super sweet, and I love petting them, but they're just a little too licky for me. You know my thing with slobber. Also,
and this movie's perfect for that.
Oh, I know. I had to keep diverting my eyes.
I'm not usually. It was the snot. It was the snot.
Snot.
I was eating yogurt, you guys, and I forgot about this. And I was like, I had to put it away.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not usually a person who can't eat when they see gore, but the snot, I was like, Cujo,
yeah,
you got me.
Well, and this is a little bit of a tough watch, and I had a strong reaction to it this time that I wasn't totally expecting. But, I also want to mention, Rachel and I, we have talked about this movie before. We have a Losers Club long watch on this episode, where we go into a lot of the history and the background and the Stephen King connections. We are going to have a slightly different focus, because if you've listened to our episodes before, we like to talk about the feminism of it all and, just our own lady killer shit. So it's not going to be like an overlap. And I recommend you go check out that episode, because we had a lot of fun with it. We talked about how they did all of these dog effects, and we talked about Steve Kemp a lot, because that's what we do.
Mike sent me the script before, so I could look at it a little bit. Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, I see. But luckily, you're definitely not going to get that experience, because me and Shelby, I don't think, have read any of the
Really?
books. Yeah, I don't know if Shelby, I'm speaking for you, but I don't think you've read the book, have you?
I have not read the book.
Okay,
okay.
I'll get into it when we get to what our.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah.
Well, I have.
We always talk about what our a history with this.
Our story.
Yeah, oh no, we'll get there. I know, but I just
yes.
That's how I know you're not.
It's
getting
so funny on my screen too. I don't know if everyone's screens are the same, but it is no books, yes books.
Oh. That's true. Yeah.
Mine
and I mean our books
people, dog people.
Yes. Well, okay, let's get into the story of this, and I am going to ask if you've read the book in our next category, her story.
I am so much happier now that I'm dead. Technically missing. Soon to be presumed dead. Gone. And my lazy, lying, cheating, oblivious husband will go to prison for my murder.
This is a section where we tell the story of the film. Spoilers abound, so listen to your own risk. The film opens on an idyllic field where a sweet St. Bernard named Cujo chases a rabbit into a cave where he's bitten on the nose by a bat. Poor Cujo. Donna is a bored housewife living in rural Maine with her smoking hot husband, Vic, and their 4-year-old son, Tad, from Who's the Boss.
The husband is so hot. Oh, my
Dude,
God.
I know.
always think he's the fire starter dad, like every
yeah.
time. And I think they look like, because they look a lot alike. But
Similar
both-
Stephen King dad 70s energy.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
It's the hair and
like the
um,
burly chest kind
yes,
of.
Oh,
and
yeah.
handsome, but like, classically handsome.
Excessively
They
handsome
They don't
also.
make them like that no mo.
Mhm. Yeah. Like he could be like your real dad, or
Mhm.
like the dad next door that you got a crush on.
Yeah.
But would never act on it because that's inappropriate.
Yeah, right.
We're all about
Yeah, never.
morals. Yeah.
I have never
that'd
been
be
with an
wrong.
older man.
No,
I would never.
we
do
would
it.
never.
Never.
Because that's how you get trapped in a car with a dog outside.
Yes.
I thought you were going
too.
to say that's how you get rabies.
Oh,
like,
no. Well,
Or this,
it could be how
possible.
you get rabies too.
Two things can be true.
Yeah. So Donna is also having an affair with local tennis pro Steve Kemp.
who's not as hot? Sorry.
No,
not nearly as
not
hot.
nearly as hot.
It
Also,
just goes to show she just needed a little something, something.
She
you know?
did. Side note, my first question was almost, would you date a guy who plays the trumpet after having sex with you? But I figured all of our answers would be no.
I was like,
And
I don't
it's
want to
the
talk about it.
Trombone, sorry.
Maybe saxophone. The saxophone, I think I could handle. Honestly.
Saxophone.
Yes.
Look, I dated a guy who played the Barry sax, and
I just I would have them
he knew what to
play
do.
the song from Lost Boys, and I would just
yes.
I'd be ready to fuck any moment if he could pull the trombone out and play
Hey,
that out. Yeah.
I played saxophone. All through
So,
college.
Rachel, what are you trying to
Rachel's
say?
like,
I'm just saying. All through middle school, all the way through college.
Oh,
So.
you're like a little Lisa Simpson. I love it.
So Vic finds out just before a serial-related emergency takes him out of town for 10 days, and it's awkward. Finds out about the affair, not all of us playing saxophone or lusting for saxophones. Meanwhile, back at Cujo's house, Charity Camber has won the lottery, which is great because her husband Joe sucks, and she wants to use the money to take her son Brett to visit family far, far away after buying Joe a present, of course. On the morning they're set to leave, Brett notices something strange about Cujo. He's not his usually sweet self, and he's way too drooly. And that's even like by normal standards, not by my standards. But Charity calls that a Joe problem, and they hit the road. Later that day, Cujo kills the Camber's awful neighbor Gary, and then Joe. He's gone rabid. Also, later that day, Donna and Tad drive the family's struggling Pinto up to the Camber's farm because Joe's a mechanic. And then I had, they're at his house because he's a mechanic in my head.
I was like, what?
Oh,
That's good. I like that.
It was like I forgot to say he's a mechanic earlier, so I'll do a little Sabrina Carpenter for herself. Okay, so they managed to make it up to the dooryard before the car dies. But Cujo attacks and traps them in the car for 2 days. Donna tries to sneak out, but Cujo attacks and bites her on the leg, which means she's going to get rabies.
You
On
have
the
a couple
third
of hours. You have a couple right?
I was
Isn't it?
wondering
Really?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, like you
to like
you-
clean
you-
out the wound or something.
Well, so
to
like you
get,
don't
like,
get
a
the
shot,
yeah,
yeah.
of shots. Yeah. So like if you don't get them in a certain amount of time, then you're fucked. Once it gets past that point, there's no turning back.
Well, and in the book, she does get it. I think if you can start treating it too,
Okay.
like she does end up getting it, but she pulls through.
Got it.
But yeah,
I
Only
also
Stephen
this was
King
on the
would be
mind
like,
too.
I've cured rabies, actually.
Yes,
You can
yes,
actually cure
yeah.
it.
the
It
Michael
doesn't
Scott
matter.
run for the cure.
Yeah.
for
Right?
rabies.
In my world, rabies can be cured.
Yes,
You're welcome.
exactly.
But I kept
everyone.
thinking of Ben from Primate because it was like the same setup. I don't know if
Haven't
any of you
seen
guys.
it.
Oh,
Not yet.
It's man, it's really good.
Does
I
Primate
really
get
liked it.
rabies?
Oh yeah. Big Ben the monkey gets rabies, man. That's the whole plot. Yeah.
Oh,
And
I thought he
it's-
was. I was
And
like,
it's a guy in a suit, so it's all practical effects, and
Monkey
it is
Cujo?
fucking hardcore. Yes,
I have
know,
heard
the-
this movie is very good. So.
I did not
always
expect
hear
it to
it's
go so
good.
hard.
Yeah.
Like I went in thinking stupid monkey movie. You know,
Yeah.
walked out was like that was a sick monkey.
Great
movie.
stupid monkey movie.
Sick, awesome,
Yeah.
stupid monkey movie. Lots of gore and like great practical effects. I think you'd all like them. And there are technically lady killers in it. So
Ooh, well,
Ooh.
hey, maybe next
Yeah.
time
On the
animals
list.
attack.
yes,
we'll
and
put it
it's on the list.
Yeah.
Monkeys attack.
I mean, don't threaten me with a good time.
I know.
So on the third day, Tad becomes dangerously dehydrated and has what looks like a seizure. While Donna is gone, Steve Kemp breaks into the Trentons' home and trashes it, igniting a million Losers Club jokes.
I was going to say, I read that in the book he does some other stuff too.
Oh, yeah. We cannot talk about Cujo without obsessing about Steve Kemp blowing a load all over the bedspread.
Yeah, and then just hitting the trumpet.
Exactly, yeah.
Honestly, I get it. Like, sometimes
I feel like
you
Matt
feel
Gerber
the music.
is going to start just yelling, Cujo, because,
it was so many U's and so many J's.
And J's,
Yes.
Yeah, him just like looking ominously out of like a lighthouse.
But like, I mean,
window.
it does make sense because like you got Steve Kemp over there, like, jerking it, making some of that, and then Cujo's covered in slobber.
Exactly.
It's kind of like the same consistency. Yes.
Time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. It's a goo-filled book,
Maybe
but not a goo-filled movie. Not nearly as goo-filled.
It's not all rabies slobber, maybe.
You think Cujo can't?
No, I think
go
Steve
jerk
Kemp
off on the dog.
You think
Because like
Cujo
Jizzle
jizzed?
show up. Oh my gosh. I'm sure that's probably not what happened. It's probably just the rabies. But again.
I cannot believe the sentence "did Cujo jizz" just came out of my mouth, but I guess there are worse things.
The lipstick comes out and we just
Oh my
look
God.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. This is why I'm a cat person. Okay. Anyways, when Vic can't reach Donna on the phone, he flies home and sees his trashed house.
For 2 days.
Yeah.
For 2 days. And I know it was the 80s. And it's not like there are cell
come on,
phones,
guys.
but still.
Where's your kid? Like, wouldn't you be concerned? You just found out that your wife was cheating on you. She could have murder-suicided
That's
her
what I
kid.
would have thought. I would have
That's
thought.
what she used to do in
Yeah.
Maine.
She's
too. Everybody
avoiding.
closes at dark. Yeah.
She's just avoiding him, maybe, I would think, too. Like, she knows that he knows, so it's like...
Actually,
Also,
yeah.
the cereal problem is a big deal. The
It
kids
is
are
a
throwing
really
up
big
across
deal.
the nation. They
Well,
are.
Kids
looks
are
like
throwing
blood.
up across the nation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're pissing and shitting red, and their parents are freaked out.
I remember thinking about that cereal professor and was like, would I, as a child, be enamored with a cereal professor
No.
and want to buy
I
cereal?
had the
And
same
was
thought. I
No,
was like,
for a
what?
character, no. I want the honeycomb guy.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
unless he's a
I was
talking
like,
animal,
oh, is he
not
selling like
interested.
an adult cereal? Like
I
a
would
boring
never,
cereal?
ever listen to a bald, like glasses guy on a commercial telling me to eat.
about cereal?
When I could have Toucan Sam. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh,
exactly.
That's
The
what I
tiger?
mean.
The tiger
Yeah.
guy?
Tony the Tiger?
Tony
It's
the
what I
Tiger.
know I could
Tiger.
have. It's not that I have any averse to bald-headed, glasses-wearing men. It's that when you can have, a Toucan Sam or a tiger, the Tony the Tiger, that's what you're going to pick.
And look, I will
Exactly.
eat some disgusting cereal. I like Mueslix, but I'm not going to watch it
I
on
eat
TV.
grape
What
nuts
is
every
that?
day. So
It's
I eat
like-
I
boring
love
ass-
grape nuts. I'm a big
Grape
Honey Nut
nuts is the
Cheerio gal.
shit. Yes.
I put Sweet and Low on it when I was younger, and that was like my big. And I would wait for all the milk to get in it, so it was soaked up, so I could eat it.
So you don't break your teeth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wet and bushy.
Ugh, man, I should have asked what cereal. Okay.
I
Anyways,
love cereal. Anyways,
Oh,
yeah.
when we
yeah.
cover
What's
Cujo to
everybody's
the
favorite
waffling,
cereal?
then
Yeah.
we'll talk about
Too Coo, Too Joe.
Too serious. Okay, so he calls the police that Steve Kemp is to blame, but they're not so sure. So he sees that their car's not in the driveway. Vic remembers that Donna had planned to go out to the Camber place until Sheriff Bannerman decides to check it out. Unfortunately, Donna and Tad are asleep in the car when he arrives. And because Sheriff Bannerman, who we all love because he's from Castle Rock, doesn't recognize the blood smeared all over the exact car he's looking for, Cooge gets the drop on him. Poor Bannerman puts up a good fight, but ultimately gets Cujo'd. Donna tries to take the opportunity to sneak out, but Tad has another episode and she can't. When Bannerman doesn't check in, Steve Kemp turns out to be an asshole, but not a kidnapper. And Vic heads out to the Cambers farm. But time is running out for Donna and Tad. He's unresponsive, and Donna realizes that he's going to die if she doesn't get him out of the car. She grabs the only weapon she can find, a baseball bat lying in the yard, and tries to fight Cujo off. It's a harrowing fight, and she ultimately breaks the bat on his face. But Cujo jumps on her, and she's able to impale him with the stump of the bat. After breaking the rear windshield, she drags Tad into the Cambers kitchen and tries to cool him down. Donna finally gets Tad to breathe again just as Cujo breaks through the window. Luckily, she has Bannerman's gun and shoots him. She carries Tad out of the house just as Vic pulls up. It's a little bit of a Die Hard ending, you know? So what is our story with Cujo, and have you read the book? Sammy, I'm going to go to you first. I thought for sure you had read this book.
I
Have you
haven't.
not?
I have not.
Really?
No, this is one of because I have read at least 25 of his books, something around there. And this is one of the big Mount Rushmore books I have neglected to read, and I think it's because I have seen the movie and I know it is so perfect, and I already know that the ending, about the ending difference. So I think because there's so many of his other books to read, I have always put this one off because I'm like, I know the ending. I know that the twist, that the big change that is made. But I will say I love this movie. I found out when I was doing the research for it that it was actually filmed near our wedding. Where we got married. So it's a California. It's if you look, the house out there is in I think it said Sausalito or something like that. So it's close to that area, which I thought was really cool. And then I just always kind of watched this in the background of my life. It was always on AMC Fear Fest. Every year it's on AMC Fear Fest. But I've had a bit of a Kingian a couple of 24 hours because I started The Talisman this morning, and I've never read it. I'm about 115 pages in. I'm loving it.
Oh, that's good.
Loving it.
Is
It's
this a
fantasy,
long book?
and I love it. I've already read 120 pages. I'm trying to finish it.
I
by the
love
end of
his
this week.
fantasy. Yeah.
It's so much fun, and I really want to read Black House, because that's a serial killer, which I
love
think is
Black
cool.
House.
Yeah, and then I want to read the new one. But I'm really particular about the Dark Tower, because I've only read up to Wolves and I haven't finished Wolves yet. And as I have said on the podcast, I know that something bad happens to Oi, and that's what's preventing me from doing it. But I feel like I got to just do it because I know the Talisman connects so hard to the Dark Tower. And as I've read it, Jake and Jack, they're the same character, guys. But
twinners, if you will.
They're twinners, yeah. So I've had that, and then we started that new Burroughs show on Netflix. And Dee Wallace has a small cameo, so it was it just all kind of felt like 6 degrees of Stephen King this week for me. I pulled up a couple of little dumb factoids that I thought we could have for people who aren't constant readers and haven't listened to the plethora of content from the losers regarding this film. So I just wanted to kind of, just so we can have a base. Because I did not know this. The original novel was a sequel of sorts to The Dead Zone, which I've read, and I didn't know it was a sequel. So spoilers ahead if you haven't read it. So spoilers, don't listen. Since Frank Dodd was killed, he became sort of the boogeyman of Castle Rock, and supposedly haunted Tad. That's that's really cool. I did not know that. Yeah, I really, really like that.
That's who the boogeyman is? Oh my God.
And, it's so cool. And then it's hinted that Dodd possesses Cujo kind of too.
Yeah.
I was
so
like,
glad
that's
you said
cool.
it, because in the beginning of the movie, I was just having read so much Stephen King except for this one, I was like, that's something in the book. I was like, I know that's something. They're not saying it in the movie, but it's and I was like,
and
okay,
it's
I got
so scary in the book too.
Oh
that's
really?
so cool. Because Mike told me that, and then I of course, then I had to go into it, and I was like, oh, I gotta figure it out. But this movie and The Dead Zone were developed at the same time. And the references were removed. They didn't want them to be connected, so I didn't like.
But there's still two Bannermans. They're both named Chief Bannerman. It's Tom Skerritt and this dude.
My favorite is I really like the one in The Dead Zone. Although I'd really like Needful Things Bannerman too. Isn't it that? Yeah. And then I also
that's Pangborn, because I think he's dead.
Pangborn.
By
that's right.
Needful
There's
Things.
two different sheriffs. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sheriffs going on.
But he loves the sheriff for sure.
He does.
Yeah.
Oh my
Especially
God,
an old
he?
folksy one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Trust. When I started The Talisman, trust me, there's a couple things that I was like, oh boy, King, that I can't wait to share with you.
Yeah. Sometimes you're just like, that's my boy.
It's so it's like if you had a bingo card.
It literally
there are several ones.
Sometimes he's a satire of himself almost. Yeah.
Well, and I'm cracking up because I was like, I think Bannerman's dead by the time Needful Things, because he dies in Cujo. That's
because he dies in Cujo.
There you go.
But he is also in The Dark Half,
which both 1983.
or the new sheriff appears in The Dark Half, and then Ed Harris plays him in Hateful Things. That's right.
Pangborn is in Dark Half.
It's all coming back. It's been a couple of years. I did want to share a couple of things about the dogs because I really love the dogs. To make the Saint Bernards attack the car, animal trainers put the dog's favorite toys inside the car so they would try to get them in the car. Love that. Really, really like that. And the dogs that were featured would often have their tails tied down to their legs because the animals would be visibly enjoying themselves.
There's one part where he's killing the neighbor and his tail wags, and I was like,
he's too stoked.
He's so excited to do his little job. Like,
it says at 54 minutes after he's finished his first kill, that he broke out of his tail restraint. You can see it wagging.
You can see it wagging.
Yeah. So that was kill. Perfect trivia factoid for me. There were 5 Saint Bernard. I'm sure Jen and Rachel, you're like, I fucking know all of this shit. Like, fuck. But there were 5 Saint Bernards used, 1 mechanical head, and a man in a dog costume. So that's quite the feat. As we know, I think a lot of us know, Stephen King, old boy, has admitted several times that he was so deep in his alcohol and cocaine addiction, he doesn't remember writing this book, which to me seems insane that you could be that hardcore into what you're doing and write a full novel with coherent sentences and plot, and that like is really good. Like that's unheard of. I just don't understand it. So every time it's brought up, I'm like, how?
I know.
That's crazy.
What's going on? I don't know. Because when I drink, I can barely form a sentence, guys.
Dude, I was like stumbling down the halls, taking people's wreaths off their doors as revenge.
Literally, I've tried even writing high before, and I'm like, how do people do this?
I get 2 sentences into a blank page, and I'm like, it's not going to happen. Like,
it's
I can't.
Not happening.
It's just, I can't. So, snaps for King for being able to
for
do
Stephen
that.
King's cocaine addiction.
Yes, it got us some of the best books of our generation. So, I got to give it to him. And then, of course, inspired to write the story when he met his mechanic's intimidating dog while having his motorcycle repaired, which, ultimately was not a good motorcycle to have. He was walking when he got
he was walking.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
But still, I feel like he just it's so weird because he always writes about how much he hates like vehicles and machines. And it's you got the scariest machine you could ride on. Yeah. And then this one is a rumor that circulated that Cujo is an ancient Indian word meaning unstoppable force. But in reality, he named the dog after the code name of William Lawton Wolfe, one of the founders of the Symbionese Liberation Army. And the code was actually spelled Kahjoh, which was misreported by the media as Cujo. And those were Patty Hearst's kidnappers. Yeah. So I thought that was cool.
That's the one thing I know.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering where Cujo came from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
A misprint.
Well, Shelby, what about you? What's your story with Cujo? And I can't remember if we've talked about this, but are you a constant reader?
I am a constant reader. Again, we share a birthday, so I feel
that's
like,
right.
Yeah.
And I have a wedding date for me. Oh, it's so
and a wedding date for Sammy. It's a lot of synchronicity. Sammy and I were like, this is so weird when we figured that out. Yeah. And it was so funny. I was just down visiting my family for my mom's retirement party, and my sister-in-law said that when she first, I was long gone out of the house by then, but when she first started seeing my brother, she would go into my room that at the time was still like kind of how I left it. And she's like, and you had all these Stephen King novels. And I started reading Stephen King because I was like, oh, I think I'm just going to start like taking her books and reading. I was like, hell yeah.
That's what I did with my
like,
dad's
I had
book.
no idea.
This is my dad's.
That's how I started reading was I would take my mom's Stephen King books. So I was like, oh my God, just the circle never ends. I was like, Stephen King finds you in a way.
He does.
So, he really does.
He really does. So yes, I've avoided this book. And this is actually my first time watching this movie.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I will tell you, it is because I was too sad about the dog.
I mean, I get it. It sucks.
Of course, this movie is so within the pop culture that I know a lot about it. Nothing was a surprise for me in the movie. In fact, the only thing that was a surprise to me was the ending because I realized I only knew the book ending because I've just always known that. And so I was like, what do you mean the kid lives? And I admit, I was like, I am one of those people who was like very sad about the animal the whole time and then was like, well, the boy should die. Like, yeah, so.
Kill the kid.
Kill the child. So I am one of those people. And so, yeah, I literally, that's the only reason I've avoided it is because I was aware enough of like, knowing that in the book, you see Cujo's thoughts about just wanting to be a good boy.
Oh,
and I knew that the movie would just make me sad. In fact, when Mike and we interviewed everyone from E.T., Dee Wallace was there, and she talked about Cujo, and she talked about it being like a really difficult shoot and everything, because it was hot and like it was difficult. And she talked about like being a mom in this movie when she like wasn't a mom, and it was like really interesting. So it's like I've always wanted to, but literally just me being giant weenie was the only thing, was like, I know it's just gonna make me sad. And then of course it starts with him chasing the rabbit, and my brain, I'm like, they had to scare a rabbit. They had to scare a real rabbit. Like, even though the rabbit didn't die, he was so scared, and the big dog was chasing him. And then I was just like, it's not a great it's a lady show. It's not a great week for me to have been in my feelings about the dog and everything. So yeah, that was literally it. That's the only reason, is just because I'm
never
a sucker
read
for
from a
stuff.
Buick 8, so don't read that. Don't.
Oh,
just
really?
Don't.
Yeah.
Oh, I read that. I read that the week it came out. I got a
like,
hardcover and everything. And I was like, I remember I read it in like half a day. It was because it's not very long. And I was like, this is the worst Stephen King book he's ever written.
It's
and like,
the dog is real. It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Dogs
likes
don't
to
always
kill
fare
animals.
well. He does. Now, to be fair, he does kill people too. So
he does kill
But doesn't
people.
there's the German Shepherd in Fairy Tale, I think, makes it.
Yes, I
Yay!
think Radar.
But then
Yes.
to counteract
It's been a
that,
while.
there's the puppy chapter in it. So
Yeah.
I don't read that anymore. That is that.
I don't
that
either.
in another section that you can probably guess. I just
How
guessed.
sad, because I can
Couple
read
pages.
the section with Patrick Hockstetter with ease, like to a point that it just is so sad that I can read that. But the puppy one, it's harder for me.
Oh, it's
But the
I can't
Patrick Hockstetter one, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. So like, yeah. And I know, so that comes up in horror a lot, where it's like, how can you be sad about an animal, but you can watch all these people get slaughtered? I can't explain it to you. I don't know. But that's how I am one of those. So
Yeah.
that's the only reason I haven't watched it. I'm glad we did. In fact, when I saw it on the list, I was like, okay, I finally have like a reason to watch it. And it is a great movie. And I knew it would be. It would be something I loved. But yeah, it was, and I was less sad, I think, because by now I knew essentially every beat just from it being around.
Yeah.
That it was like,
Yeah.
again, nothing was a surprise. And at the end, I was like, what do you mean the kid's alive? What the hell?
Yeah.
Did I get
Was
a
it
different?
pretty
I
straight
literally
very
looked it up because I was like, did I get a different ending? Like,
Is it like
there's
Clue?
no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Wisconsins get the happy ending, and then down in Nashville we get the dark one. Yeah. Rachel, we've talked about this, but
Yeah.
listeners may not have heard. What is your story with Cujo? And have you read the book?
I have read the book, but I think I've only just once, and that was a really long time
Really?
ago. And so I actually have some things you'll have to be my fact checker on some things that might come up. But also, like, I put off watching this movie forever for all the reasons that you were just saying. Like, I just was like, I know this is going to be hard for me, and I don't want to watch that, especially like I'm very protective. Like, I have a bully breed. I've like had them previously, and it's like I have a really hard time when, dogs of that ilk that fall under that banner are portrayed as like these evil monsters,
Same.
and so like I think Saint Bernards are usually kind of portrayed in nicer fashion,
Yeah.
as like rescue dogs, or because that's what they are, which I also think is why
Their
it's
little
interesting
barrels
that
are on their
he-
neck. Yeah.
yeah, like why
Yeah.
he chose a Saint Bernard for this dog. But then when I finally did, it was like, okay, I can. It's still not an easy film for me to watch necessarily, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, because I think they like give you the lead up, like he is a good boy, it wasn't his fault. So I think that helps, just knowing it going in case anybody's like afraid to kind of watch it. It's like he's not portrayed as an evil dog. It's just an unfortunate thing that happened to him that made him this way, that sort of thing. And not necessarily like a comfort rewatchable movie for me, but a fascinating movie to talk about. And I do find like I've probably only seen it like 3-4 times max, and I do find something new every time. So it is a rewarding watch in that way, that like, I find something new to kind of pick out of it every time.
Yeah. Yeah. And we also hear your goodest boy in the back.
I know.
I
I thought I was
know.
like, I think he heard you say
I
like good
know.
boy and was like,
I know.
Oh, is it
Boy.
me? Is it me? Oh, so
I am a
sweet.
good boy.
Well, I don't remember the first time I read this, but I do, like I said, have vivid memories of reading at the pool. I think I read this in probably middle school the first time, because this was one that my friend Naomi was reading that she had gotten from her older brothers. And y'all, I used to read a lot of Stephen King and slept with the lights on. I printed out the monster words and put them on my wall, and I would say them at night because I was scared of the dark. But I would do that with like other things. Like I put the end of Shawshank Redemption on my wall too because I was like, these words are so good.
Yes.
And now I have Stephen King's words behind me on the wall, although Corey got those for me. Anyways, but I didn't like. I kind of put this movie off. I love it. I think it's great, but this and Misery, I don't enjoy watching because they are so powerful. They're so. I think I come with so much of the book too that like it just is a really like strong experience to watch. This one really bothered me this time, mostly because of the mom stuff, which I'll talk about. But I think the thing that I love the most about Cujo now, the book, is that, and I'll talk about this later. You keep mentioning the like he's a good boy, he wanted to be a good boy. I have a passage to read later in the episode, but like it's, for me, it's a metaphor for addiction too, and like alcoholism and like this monster that you can't control. So that's partly what I really love about
King's
it.
subconscious was definitely like, hey, let me out.
Oh, absolutely. And
I
like
need some help, buddy.
yeah, are my wife and child trapped in a house with a raging monster who is getting really high and drunk? Yeah, I definitely think that was on his mind. But I also love this as like, I love that Donna is such a flawed mother, but she's still like, she's just such a fascinating character.
Loved that about her. I loved,
but not
I was
villainized either.
No,
no.
Yeah. And I also love how straightforward the story is too. Like as I was writing this, I got to make some stupid jokes because there's just not a whole lot that happens. It's just kind of like one of those survival stories. And I think it's just really fascinating. So really excited to dig into it. I also want to say he wrote a sequel to this called Rattlesnakes in his most recent short story collection, called You Like It Darker. And it's my favorite novella of the collection. It's really, really good. So if you have watched the movie or read the book, highly recommend you pick up You Like It Darker and read Rattlesnakes. I think it's like 100 and something pages, and it's really scary too. So
I mean, Mike, tell me the ending because I just wanted to know.
Yeah,
I was like, just tell me.
It's good. It made me cry too. You know, it's so good. So, okay, well, let's talk about this movie. And I swear, I'm really going to try to not get too into the book, but it's hard. It's hard for me to separate.
No, I love it.
Yeah. Because they're very similar in a lot of ways. Like, you know, this is not one of those out there adaptations like Running Man or something, you know, that has nothing to do with the story. And I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man. So, okay. Well, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he's not in this movie. Let's talk about who is in our next category. Who is she?
I just wish we could all get along like we used to in middle school. I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
Okay, so we have Donna Trenton, played by Dee Wallace. I did not see E.T. until I was a grown-up, too.
Me neither.
So,
Really?
Like 8 years ago, I saw it for the first
Oh
time,
my
too.
God.
Yeah. So,
Mike
like,
was appalled.
I know. I get it. I get her mixed up with Barbara Crampton sometimes, but
I can totally see why. They're very similar.
Yeah,
but to me, she's just like America's mom, you know? Like she just has that really... My sister really loved The Howling, so I watched that for a lot. Like I saw The Howling before I saw E.T., which just feels wrong.
That's
like,
so,
as far
so
as
funny.
like,
Howling is scary.
Yeah. I mean, no one was...
And
no
we
one was
could
watching us.
It's what we talk
yes,
about.
we could. We definitely could.
Werewolves.
We do Werewolf Month
We
one day.
could do werewolf, or we
Yeah.
could do cryptids. Anyways,
I love cryptids. Too.
Can you tell we're thinking about what we're going to cover next?
Can you tell it's been a while since we've recorded? And
I
we're
know.
all just like,
Okay, so our victims, we have Joe Camber, bleh, Gary Purvier, double bleh. And then I'm counting Donna and Tad, even though they survive, and then Cujo. Okay, our motive, we shall discuss, but I blame that bunny. And then our weapons, rabies. Okay, so we've mentioned the darker ending. Yes, in the book, Tad does die. And there is a part where, like, we get a little bit longer with Vic and Donna, and they really try to make their relationship work. But there's the line that always sticks in my head is, but Tad was still dead. You know, they ultimately could not get over that. Donna does get rabies, but she heals. And then I'm not going to spoil any of Rattlesnakes, but it's really, really good. Shelby, would you prefer the darker ending? I think you already kind of said you would, right?
Yeah, I think I would. Like I said, I was honestly shocked. I will say I went and looked up the book ending because then I felt crazy. I was like, did I make up
Like
that the kid
a
dies?
Mandela effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Berenstein Bears.
So I went and looked up the book immediately just to see the differences. Because I don't know if I never say never, but it's not one I will gravitate toward. I will admit, for all the reasons I said before. So I went and read, kind of the synopsis and everything, and I would prefer the darker ending because I didn't like that the movie stopped so abruptly to me, even without having seen it before, without reading the book. I was like, it felt abrupt. It felt like
Just quick to
and
credits.
it's over.
It goes
Yeah,
through,
like
and,
he
and
showed
a
up and
freeze
it's over.
frame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
With
a
a freeze frame.
Like,
Yeah, I was like, okay. And then reading how there is like kind of an epilogue. I don't know if it's counted as an epilogue in the book, but like it felt like for me, for my own brain, an epilogue of like, this is what happens after. It felt better. And I love a bleak ending. So I did
Yeah.
like that. I liked that the little boy died. It just felt like,
the way
I
you
don't know.
said that. And
I
I
know.
liked that the little boy dies.
everyone clip that for social media.
Yes.
and
I liked
always
that the
remember
little boy
the little boy
died.
who is a fictional character also.
He was a
Yes,
fictional
yes,
character for this
in a story that's not real. Yeah.
For this story, I don't know, there's something about it that made it I don't know, like I guess the stakes weren't not as high because again, I was watching it the whole time waiting for him to die, but it was really torturous. Like I even without him dying at the end, the movie did such a beautiful job at how torturous being in this hot car would be. The little boy, the actor was incredible. It was like incredible
so
child
good.
actor. Like
he couldn't even
it was-
read like his lines, like because he didn't know
my
he didn't know
God.
how to read yet. Like that's crazy.
The points where he was crying and so scared of Cujo, I was like, did they terrify this little boy? Like he was so good at being like just that actual like primal little kid scream that's like so scary.
Like it's authentic. It didn't feel, and it's like I don't have kids.
was
I have no
hard to
desire
watch.
to be a mom, but I'm like, oh my god, my heart.
No, same.
Oh, yeah.
Same.
I
I'm
thought
so
I was
far
gonna
away
die.
from being a mom.
I'm
but I
scared
was
of
just like,
animatronics, so I get it. Like I
Yeah.
scream in the Jurassic Park ride, even though I know they're fake, But every time when the fucking T-Rex comes, I scream like a little
one
girl.
day.
And it's like maybe it'll come to life. There's a whole like Instagram like community of people that talk about like submerged
Mechanophobia.
yes, and animatronics and things like that. And there are a couple that will that if I came upon swimming, I would just shit my pants. Like it would just scare the shit out of me. And so I can understand being 6 years old and seeing this giant mechanical dog head. I'd be like, okay, I'm a little
seriously.
scared. I'm scared.
Yeah.
Well, and you're feeding off of Dee Wallace's energy too.
Yeah,
Like if
oh,
she's
yeah.
screaming, I think,
And they're both
Yeah, totally.
sweaty and like
Yeah.
I just But I
I
will
hope this
say
kid's
yes,
okay. Real life.
He went on to do Who's the Boss, and he was okay there. So he, Danny
I
Pintaro.
didn't look at an update. Those child actors, you just never know.
I know. I was like,
man.
I kind of
watched a lot of
kinda
Who's
don't
the
wanna
Boss
know.
when I was
I did
younger.
too. I always think of Who's the Boss when I watch this movie. I'm
I
like,
like the theme song.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I like the role reversal, the gender swap, because she's
Yeah.
the boss.
Yeah.
Well, Rachel, what about you? Would you prefer the darker ending?
No, not for the movie.
Ooh.
This movie's already like, it's not fun. This isn't
Yeah.
a fun movie.
No,
and I
it's
think
not.
I have no problems with a bleak movie. Like, trust me. But I think for this particular one, it needed something.
Yeah.
You
A
know,
little-
I
it needed a little
think I
something.
agree for the
Yeah,
movie.
that's a good point. I think I was thinking, which one do I like better? Because for me, I like the
That's-
darker ending. But for the movie, I don't know if I necessarily want to see
For-
that.
Well, and like for a mainstream, big budget Hollywood movie, there's no way. There's no way. There's no
It's
way.
probably
that
the
they would have
exact
that kid
conversation
die.
that was going on in a boardroom at a studio in
Yes. Oh, yes.
82 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Sammy, what about you?
I feel like the true horror is the realism, that the novel, which I heard does give, because obviously I know the ending, but I haven't read the book. But I think it's showing us that like bad things happen to good people for no grand reason, like just because they just happen. There's no divine intervention, and I think that's kind of what's scariest of all to me is that like our greatest tragedies sometimes have no greater meaning. But I understand, that Hollywood and the general television viewing public kind of frown upon visually depicting kids dying. And I know that they had, issues making the miniseries for it, since it's basically about child murder, because it was during that time. But fast forward, to this century, and now they're making endings way more brutal, as opposed to easier to digest. And I think The Mist is a great example of that, because, we as a society have become a whole lot more comfortable with children dying. And I wonder why that could be. Wink, wink, wink. But I do think that we do get movies now that would pull this punch. And I think it's not rewatchable. Really, like it's more rewatchable this way than it would be the other way.
Yeah.
But I do think it would have been something. I don't know, because we're still talking about it, but I do wonder what the conversation would be like had that been that shocking reveal at the end for audiences. Because I know when I finished The Mist, I wanted to walk into oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
So
I stop it right before that happens now when I watch
because that's
it.
not
I'm
what happens in the book, though,
It's
either in the short
not.
story. So it's like they made it way more cruel, and here they made it less cruel. So it's just interesting dichotomy to see, like,
It is.
as a society, what's changed? Why are we more okay with this? Why did that pass the boardroom, in the suits, but this didn't? And I do think you could maybe correlate it to how comfortable we've gotten with kids dying in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think, we recently, Rachel and I and Justin recently did an episode on Stephen King's endings because he gets knocked for his endings a lot. And I get my soapbox out about it.
I do too, because I love them too.
I do too. And I think that what I essentially said in this episode, a lot of other things, and it's a great, fun episode. You should listen to it. But I don't think he writes bad endings. I think he just doesn't pander. He's not
and
giving
I love that.
you.
I think I prefer his book endings to most all of the movie endings. Like,
I think
I
I do
can't think
too.
of one where I like the movie ending better. I really
And his worst books are when he does pander. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean?
I think so,
and
too.
that's coming from the new era of him. And I
I
don't mean to shit on his new stuff, but I do find them to be a little less punchy,
I'm sorry.
I know. Don't know. I got mine somewhere around here. We have ours somewhere around here. I know. And look, I love the character. I love the character of Holly. The Outsider made me fall in love with the character of Holly. Okay, I've not watched Miss Mercedes trilogy or read them, but that Holly I do love. But I do think he is catering to a different audience these days, and I do think he is less willing to go there. Because he doesn't.
He's getting
he's in his
old.
happy,
Maybe
nice
he's,
old man
feeling
stage.
his
Yes,
I was gonna
mortality.
say he doesn't
And
have the
that's
same
exactly
fears.
why.
Yeah.
That's why. Yes, and so I think you're getting, in the 80s, we got those gut punches because he was fucking coked out and drunk and angry,
and he wasn't mega rich when he wrote some of these. So
oh God,
he's
no. I mean,
like a rich old man now. Yeah.
Just what was things that ideas and fears were just different than they are now. I think he still has those. It's just shifted from very visceral, I'm going to kill my family kind of things, or what happened at my pet cemetery, that whole thing. It's just different fears because he's in a different place.
Yeah. And I mean, I do love a lot of his older work. Again, Rattlesnakes, he just wrote that. And I think it is a really interesting look at the long-term effects of some of these fears, or him looking back on the fears that he had when he was younger. I think it's really interesting, but I agree with you. And in On Writing, he talks about how he doesn't really plot. He kind of lets the story tell itself. I know. And I'm like,
Which
again,
I have read
you
On
were a
Writing
genius.
probably 8 or 9 times.
I just reread it.
Too.
It's so good. It's incredible. That's his memoir. It's a nonfiction about writing. If you haven't read it, highly recommend. But yeah, I think the odds of them surviving this are probably not great. And Shelby, I do agree with you that it is weird that it ends on a freeze frame. It's kind of quaint, and I kind of love it. They might as well jump in the air,
that's what
I also like that if we're going to do this happy ending, we don't have to. They're not going home to their happy house. It's not all good. They don't even get to hug.
It's a call that's hey, actually, the cereal's back on the shelves. And
Exactly.
they're all good.
Thanks, Vic. Steve Kemp just blows a load all over the police station. Sorry, that would not be in the Hollywood. This is what happens when Losers Club starts talking about Cujo though, is Steve Kemp
there's a whole
gets a lot of
if you're
play.
gonna write a plot or a whole plot of your story about a guy masturbating into his affair partner's bed, it's not gonna not come up.
Exactly.
You can't not bring it up.
That is what podcasts are for.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Okay, well, also what podcasts are for is talking about feminism. So let's do that. We are not getting in a Pinto because no.
No.
Look at that shiny, nice red car that he
Yes,
has.
Jaguar.
Let's get in
Yeah,
the
that was
top,
beautiful.
the convertible with the top down, so we can just climb. Although I guess Cujo would be able to eat us in a convertible, but
We've already saved Cujo.
That's
we saved
true.
Him.
And
we got there in time for the rabies
He's
shot.
all better.
And he's better, and he's fine. So, like, just
Yeah,
imagine
we have
the
the
four of
magic
us in the
rabies
car
cure.
and the big Cujo head behind. Like,
yes,
he's with us.
Maybe
Yeah.
Church is in there too. You know?
Church,
Yep, why not?
Church and
Just
Clovis.
throw him in.
Church is in there.
Always there too, because I know
Always,
something
yes.
bad happens to him, and I feel sick.
Yeah, it's well, that's a story for another day. So yes, let's get in. Loser, we're going killing.
This woman will soon cut, chop, break, and burn 5 men beyond recognition. And there isn't a jury in this country that will convict her.
Okay, I want to talk about Donna. She is our kind of transition, and I think she is really the heart of this movie because, yes, Danny is doing a lot of Danny Pintaro, the actor. Tad, I just always think of him, Danny Pintaro. Tad is great in this, but he's so young that he really kind of exists as like more of a device for her,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that she has an affair. Now, some of this is like I said, Stephen King doesn't plot, but like plot mechanics of like, how could she be gone for 2 days and he not know? It's because there's tension with their marriage. But I like this idea that she has transgressed and that maybe this is her punishment. So I want to ask, because when police start looking, he's convinced that Steve Kemp did it. It like holds them off for a long time. And in the book, that could be the difference between Tad living and dying, is if they had immediately gone to the Camber farm, or if Vic had thought something was wrong earlier, maybe Tad would have survived. Rachel, what do you think about Donna in this movie? Is this her fault, and does she deserve her fate?
No, this is not her fault. This is a series of unfortunate events.
Yes. Let me
You know,
sink it.
like this is just a snowball of certain things, of circumstances that have come together. I'll save some other thoughts on like larger things, but I think that, you know, in relation to Cujo, what he stands for, there's some things with Donna as well that can tie into that. She does not deserve this. Nobody deserves this. Tad is innocent in this. He doesn't deserve this.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, it's just an unfortunate kind of position that she's in. And, you know, also, what's his face, Vic, you know, if he had maybe prioritized her car a little bit more and not his, you know, so it's like, you know, there's some blame to kind of spread around, you know, this kind of thing. If he had not forgotten to take her car up to Camber's instead of her. So it's not, this whole situation is not her fault by any means. I think it's just the position that she found herself in, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just one of those awful things that happens. Sammy, what do you think?
Those days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything is fucked. Everybody sucks.
And everybody sucks.
Man.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, honestly, like some of the best lyrics ever written.
Honestly.
Because they're very relatable.
Yes, Limp Bizkit. Prophets of our time.
Yeah, for younger listeners out there, listen to this classic. Yeah.
Sometimes you just hear something and it triggers us. I can't. I have to say, and if I don't say it, my skin will start to crawl.
Again,
Wonderful.
that's what podcasting is for. Is for us to get
for
these
my
vocal stems out.
But yeah, Rachel is absolutely right. This is a devastating case of cause and effect and bad timing. You know, it's just wrong place, wrong time. And I think that I've always really appreciated how King doesn't make her husband evil. You know, there's no reason that she's cheating. And most media, I feel like, depicts the male as a violent or abusive to make the female counterpart more likable. You know, if they do cheat, I feel like that's pretty common in narrative. And here we have just a normal couple experiencing strife, and in turn, mistakes were made. You know, and no one's I don't know. I just like that he's not some asshole, and we're not rooting for her to cheat. You know, we recognize that it's a mistake. But that doesn't mean she's some evil villainess,
Mhm.
And I think what makes her one of my favorite King characters, one of my favorite King women, even though I haven't read the book, is that she owns what she did. She
Mhm.
understands that she did something horrific. There's no justifying it. And she has to, make a change. She apologizes. Like, she wants to work on it and she wants to do better, even before the horror starts,
Yeah.
And in the end, I think she finds the inner strength and resolve within herself to fight one of the most visceral battles in any of his works, as far as like man versus even machine or animal, or other man. Like,
Mhm.
this I feel like is one of the, like, if you were playing like Mortal Kombat, like, and you had like Donna and Cujo, like, that would be like a good, like, if I could do King Mortal Kombat characters,
Mhm.
that's actually
Oh,
like a
that'd be
really good
awesome.
episode
Yeah.
idea for you guys, because
Yeah.
I'd listen to that.
on,
And
let me
you'd have to
just
come
write
up with
that
their
down real quick.
tagline.
It just has like Steve Kemp pops up and he's like, finish him.
Cujo's is just like, like, it's like he just emotes a bark and drools. Oh my God. Like, I would love to come up with slogans for every
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat
Well,
King character. So,
Hey,
but yeah.
everybody, stay tuned to the Losers Club podcast for.
I'm pitching that to Randall, man.
Yes.
That's a fun episode.
That's gonna be fun. Yeah. Shelby, what do you think about Donna?
That is one aspect that I had like not thought a lot about when I was going into this. It's like I remembered it was something that happens, but I didn't know much about that part of Cujo because you hear a
Mhm.
lot about the dog,
Yeah.
obviously. And I really loved how this. God, I'm gonna get so many bad clips. We're gonna get letters because I'm like, I wish the kid had
Letters,
died.
letters.
Also, I love this affair, how it was
I
portrayed.
hope we get a handwritten letter.
Yeah.
I like
I
sincerely
actually
hope.
got
With like a
I
little
got-
signed with a little paw.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I
like-
know. Yeah, I'm gonna start getting stuff like taped to my door. Find weird little packages on my doorstep. Yeah, no, I love how this affair was portrayed. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because it was so messy
Mhm.
and realistic. Like, we don't see her in the sexy beginnings of the affair. We see her at the messy end but like we get the gist of like we see how it could have started,
Yes.
but it turns out this guy is not the fantasy she had in mind, and it has not fulfilled her in the way she thought it was going to. And I just really love that we're getting in so many movies and things, we get that beginning and we don't
Yeah.
necessarily, and the end is almost like a little too quick. And I love that we Rainbow. I love that we get to see this guilt, overtake her. We see how her affair partner is become really what's the word I'm looking for?
Needy.
Wants to needy, but like he
Well, I
wants
feel
to
like he
control.
Oh, like aggressive?
Possessive.
Like he like assaults
Possessive.
her.
There we
Possessive,
go.
thank you.
Yeah.
He gets
got
really
there.
possessive over her. Like he decides like you are not leaving. And it's funny because like he even gives the gist of like he's not even that into it. He just doesn't want her to end it. And like
Yeah.
I just really love
His
this
pride.
messy thing she's gotten herself into. And I feel like this is what a real affair, this is how it plays out. This is what you see in
Mhm.
person. It's almost like one of the best portrayals of like why not to cheat on your husband,
Yeah.
because it's
not
like
hot
this is
and
what
steamy. It's
yeah,
like a
this
bed
is what
in
it
the middle
really
of a room.
is. This is what it
Mhm.
becomes. And then I don't think that she was at fault for any of this, but I do feel like maybe when King was writing this, again, I know we're talking about the movie and not the book, but these are all of his worst fears. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
not only his wife cheating on him, but his wife and son maybe dying or being taken
Mhm.
away in some way. And like, also he was fucking up so much. He like knew this was all like kind of possible too. Like, and
Yeah.
he would be at fault for it. Like, honestly, the father husband in this movie is not in any way, I don't think, at fault, other than like, that's one thing I like too, is like, it was the first time we've seen, not the first time, sorry, but we don't often see a woman having an affair without them having the counterpart of like a really shitty husband.
Exactly.
Where you're
Yes,
like,
that's
yes,
exactly.
go girl,
Yeah.
you cheat
Yes.
on that
Mhm.
asshole.
Mhm.
And I kind of loved that he was like, not,
Yeah.
she was
just a
just
guy. She just
Yeah.
was bored. She
I think
was
that's what
losing her
was so-
identity.
weirdly refreshing about it in this strange way. I was like, I love this. It's so raw and real and messy and gross in like a way that's like something you would hear about like your parents' friends what we're going through, and I
Yes,
felt like
yeah.
it was like weird. This movie is so weirdly rooted in reality, and even though it's kind of a crazy plot. But like Sammy, you mentioned earlier, there's no divine intervention, which King loves. He loves a divine intervention.
He does love a
I mean,
hand
look
of
at the end
God.
of The Stand. Like, it's literally
Yes,
the hand
that's
of
a
God.
literal hand.
Literal hand if you watch the early miniseries. Yeah. And it's like, I remember by the way, I remember reading that and then immediately having my parents let me rent the series. And I remember being like, they decided to do an actual hand. Like,
It's the
an
most
actual
Deus Ex Machina to ever exist.
What a choice.
And
So,
I
yeah,
cry
it's like-
every time.
I
I see,
So good.
honestly.
It's magnum
And
opus.
like,
Yeah.
but yeah, like there is no divine intervention. This is just like a really messy story of real people and a real thing that can happen to a dog. Like the most crazy thing is in the book with her fucking solving rabies, somehow having a cure for rabies, you know, which again, love him in his coked out brain. He's like, there's a cure for rabies, right? And there's no internet. I can't Google it. So yeah, they cured her rabies. So yay.
Yeah, I think I do love how messy it is. And there is the Frank Dodd stuff. Like the beginning of this book is really scary. And that's one of the first things I remember really liking because it's like a monster in the closet. But other than that, there's nothing supernatural.
Yeah, and in the movie, they really downplay that. Like I said, I did catch that in like, oh, I bet in the book that's really spooky. But in the movie, they really cut it down to, oh, the kid's just kind of
He's just
afraid
scared of the
He's
closet.
just a kid because
Yeah,
kids
just
are
a
scared
kid.
because closets are fucking scary, man.
They are
Maybe
scary.
he's read The Boogeyman from Night Shift because
Or he's
that's why
picking up on
I
the
am
tension,
scared of
right?
closets.
It's
Yes.
his fears are being projected into the closet.
I mean, I think that's probably true too. Like there is tension. Like we see these dinner table conversations, and when he does the little shark thing, it's so cute. But it's like
very
this,
Jaws.
Yes.
It reminded me of,
It's like, but this 4-year-old is feeling the need to smooth over tension between his adult parents, you know? And I think that's scary. And like, I remember hearing about Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is it helped kids put a face to this internal, like existential fear that they couldn't really understand, you know? And this is one of those questions that like, I think we all kind of know the answer to, but I just kind of want to talk about it because I do think that it is really interesting the way Donna is portrayed here. A little bit more background in the book. She, I think, was living in maybe New York. They were living in a city with Vic doing his advertising thing. And then they moved out here for like, you know, you want the suburban yards.
Yeah.
I can't talk, but you know, you
The
want
white
like
picket fence.
exactly.
Yeah.
You want the hand that rocks the cradle kind of life, you know.
Yes.
But then her son started going to school. She's a stay-at-home mom. She just doesn't really have anything to
I'd go
define
fucking
herself.
crazy and have an affair, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I
I
did
get it.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Tammy, you kind of said she's losing her identity too.
Yeah.
So I like that it's because of that. It's not really because she's a bad person, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe Vic
People
could have
are
done more.
complicated.
You know?
Yeah.
They are. Well, okay. And here's what I think about whether or not this is her fault. Because, I mean, yes, she does have a hand in it. Her mistakes are what lead to this. But no, it's not her fault. And like, I remember learning a lot about hindsight bias after my first marriage. And that's this idea that if you knew the outcome in the beginning, of course you wouldn't do
It's
that.
2020. That's why they say that.
Exactly. And like if she knew that this was going to happen, if she had an affair with, or that an affair would contribute to her and her child almost dying due
How
to a
could you
rabid dog.
possibly know that?
She can't. Well,
Yeah.
and even that, I'm going to paraphrase a third-hand story that I heard on a podcast about someone describing an Oprah episode. So probably won't get the details of this right. But it's this story about this woman who was texting while she was driving and she got in a wreck that killed her children. And what they were talking about, which is so funny because it reminds me of another story called Herman Woke is Still Alive, Stephen King story, which is so depressing that I don't read it anymore. But what they were talking about is like, these are the tiny things that we all do, like not specifically texting and driving, but we all make mistakes. Like I have sent my kids to the pool when I'm not with them and we just cross our fingers and we like live in this illusion of safety. And every once in a while, this lady calls it like you win the tragedy lottery, you know, like you get caught in this dangerous thing that most of us do all the time because you don't think that this really rare thing is actually going to happen. And that's just life.
Look at Stephen King.
Exactly.
And all of his fears and you know, he's literally walking down the street like he did every day?
Yeah.
Like crazy.
And just happens to get hit by a car and almost die. And I was just rereading that too. And they talk about how like just a millimeter and he probably would have died. You know, it's just
I
the
still
way
remember
it
when that
happened.
happened and the news was
Me
like,
too.
he's gonna die. Like, the
Yeah,
news
because
was
they
like,
thought he was. Yeah.
yeah.
And
It
then
was
he
really
came back
bad.
and finished that Dark Tower
He
series.
sure did.
He wrote Dreamcatcher.
He said, yeah.
Oh my God, it's so
He
funny. I was
sure
talking to
did.
my friend and because I talk about Stephen King all the time. And she's like, I read 11/22/60. I know. It's so I'm always recommending these books. But she was like, and I picked up this Stephen King book and I was like, I'll just read till I don't want to read anymore. And then she was like, and I'm almost done and I'm really loving it.
That'll
And
happen. Yeah.
And she was like, and it's Dreamcatcher. And I was
Oh,
like,
I say I done it all of the time. I literally, once I finish something and I do it, I go, I done it. Like I did
and look,
it.
no shade to Dreamcatcher because
No,
it's got its
Shade
defenders.
for me. I hated that
He's a
book.
huge Scooby-Doo fan, okay? We love Duddits,
Yeah.
right? We stand Duddits in this house, okay?
Yeah. It was just so fun. It was the last book I expected her to say that she was really into. But hey, the heart wants what the heart wants.
It
And
really, really does.
those shit
yeah.
weasels are pretty creative too.
It's
so
only
I'll
up
give
from
them
there. I
that.
mean,
That's true.
unless she picks
Hey,
up Tommy Knockers
you
next.
think that's
Hey,
good?
I mean, 11/22 came out of later that era, so I will give that. I mean, I guess that's technically 2011, so it's in that new decade. Yeah, I guess 2000 to 2010 was a little rough.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
but we got
good.
Doo McKee. There's some
people love
bangers
Doo
in
McKee,
there.
Yeah, and Under the Dome, I think is
Mhm.
part of that era. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I think we have an episode on that decade of King too. So
I think you guys do.
know,
Yeah.
For a billion thoughts on Stephen King and all of his books, check out The Losers Club.
Mhm.
So,
Ever heard of it?
and you know what? We are going to pay some bills. Maybe there'll be an ad for The Losers Club today. Okay, so I have another one of those, like, I kind of already know the answer, but I want to talk about it because we also have Charity here. And Charity is Joe Camber's wife. Now, in the book, we go into a lot more detail. Joe is awful. He's overtly abusive. He sucks.
Mhm.
She is really trying to get Brett, the son, away from him. It's kind of like a Dolores Claiborne kind of situation,
Yeah.
except just with the children condensed. So she buys Joe a present so that she can go out of town. She's distracting him with this. But what I think is really interesting is in the morning they're leaving, Brett sees Cujo, knows something is wrong, is like, something's up. In the book, we hear the thoughts of Cujo, and he's like, I want to lunge at
You
the
get
kid.
Cujo's POV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one reason I haven't read it.
That.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That sounds
because he's like,
cool.
this is my boy. I don't want to hurt him, but also the rabies is starting to
he's
creep
a
in.
dog.
I know. It's sad.
don't.
But Charity is like, Joe's going to deal with that. We got to get out of here because she knows if they don't leave now, if there's a problem. And it goes into this in the book too. Like, we're not going to be able to get away. And what she really wants, like, you get the sense she's not coming back too.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
I feel like you get that sense in the movie as well.
Yeah,
like,
she
that's-
pets like
yeah.
photo albums.
Yeah,
like
she's
she's
like, okay, you're not
Her
coming
goal
back.
is, I'm not coming back. So
Yeah.
like, we got to go now.
Yeah, yeah. And we don't necessarily need that in the movie. Like, I like how streamlined the movie is, but I just also think I approach the character with that in the back of my mind.
Mhm.
So, Rachel, what do you think about Charity? Is she responsible for this?
I don't think she's responsible. Quite frankly, I don't like this guy, and she doesn't owe him shit.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
girl, get out while you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Take your kid, just go. But also, I don't, like you said, this hindsight bias. I don't think she probably thinks like he has rabies and is going to kill this
Yeah.
person.
Mhm.
And
And
like,
our
I think there
neighbors.
is an element of truth to what she tells Brett. Is just kind of like, your dad loves this dog. If something's wrong with him, he'll, when he feeds him, he'll see it and he'll take care of it. Like, I think there is an element to that because we do see Cujo hanging out with him. And he's like, oh, I'll stick my dog on you. I
Mhm.
think he does like this dog as much as he can. And so I think that I don't know, just her thought process, there was some logic to that. Yeah, I don't think she's responsible, but also even if she was, I don't know, fuck this guy.
Yeah. Well, and I think in the book, we find out that he is the one who chose not to get Cujo rabies shots. And that's.
Oh, I mean, that's
why.
my whole thing too. Yeah, because it's like he's clearly not a good dog owner because it's
Yeah.
a series of unfortunate events for Cujo. Like because he had the bite on his nose. I'm sorry if Rambo came in with a bite like that on his nose, you better
yeah.
believe I would be like,
We're going to
"Get
the
in the
vet
car, we're
now.
going.
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to the vet, go check him out. And then even before that, he's not vaccinated. That like these owners are not good dog owners and have not protected Cujo to this point. You know, it's the
Protect
it's the same
Cujo.
thing like with a lot of bully breeds. I'll say
Oh,
you know,
God, yeah.
everybody just like people. Some people are just not good eggs. But a lot of it's, you know, how you take care of
Raise
them. It's
them,
a little bit
yeah.
of nature and a lot of nurture, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I think it's very similar here. And clearly, Joe, not a good nurturer.
No.
Yeah. Joe sucks. And I mean, they
Because
were
it's an
about to
era-
go to Boston to go whoring too, which is
Booze,
not a word that
rods,
we
and
say
baseball.
anymore, but
They
you know.
were with his
Yeah.
lotto money. But like,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, he's not a good, I don't know. I wouldn't expect him to
Rambo
do something
agrees.
good with that money. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, Sammy, what do you think about Charity?
I think so I haven't read the book, so I wonder if the book like fully explores the emotional consequences that she and her son would have, like because it's like a woman went through this and then their son died, which in the
Yeah.
book, you know, so it's like I would like what is the like collateral damage of that, you know, how do they feel about that, I guess.
I
Oh, I didn't
do.
even think about it in that way. Yeah.
It does go into that a little bit. I think they do get a new dog and they make sure to say he got his shots. But I think because Joe dies, it
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they feel awful. This is a really bad
Yes.
thing. But I think, you know, their abuser is gone. You know, their Cujo
Yeah.
is gone. So, you know.
Well, I think their inaction, you know, played a role too. But I think I don't know, it feels very like we're really good as humans, we're really great at compartmentalizing grief.
Yeah.
And so I think for her it's like this is the best case scenario.
Yeah.
For them. And if she had stayed, like what? Like then she dies by dog because Cujo's infected. So it's like they would also have died and her son would have also died. So no.
Yeah.
Charity's in the clear. She's good. She's cool.
Shelby, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the only like part that it's like I would have wanted to take the dog with me if I was leaving
If you were
forever.
going to leave. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
also like, well, I'm really glad you didn't, though. Like, I'm
Mhm.
so glad you
It's like
did
a
not do that. Also, I
Dog
get
on
it.
a bus, like in the new Texas Chainsaw
Yeah.
Massacre movie.
Yeah, and like it was interesting. The whole dynamic was interesting. I think the movie did a good job portraying like he's a very bad man and this is a very bad relationship. I mean, even when she's like, I won $5,000 in the lottery, like his reaction is so blasé almost. Like, I don't know, his reaction was really weird and like not excited. And she's like, I bought you a present. And like she's very like she gives abused woman, you know, abused wife
yeah.
very well. The
Yeah.
actress did
Yeah.
a good job at this just like shell-shocked person who knows this man can go off at any second.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I don't think she's responsible at all. I did read that about how like they get the vaccinated puppy at the end and I love that. And I hadn't thought about that though, Sammy. Like
puppy.
yeah. The collateral damage of like, oh, it was my dog who did this. But like what could they have done? You know,
Yeah.
at that
No,
point
there's
Cujo
nothing
was
they could
so
have done.
dangerous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I would feel some like it would. I don't know. It would affect me if someone was killed by my dog.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I even if it was my husband's dog,
Especially
or my
if right
son's
before your
dog.
son was like, something's going on with Cujo, Mom.
Yeah,
You know,
like
it's like
Yeah.
I would feel guilt. You know, not that she deserves the guilt, but I definitely would feel a sense of something. Unless you're like a cold-hearted killer, you would feel
no, it
like,
reminds me of
oh
like
my god, someone
you know,
died
like you
here.
hear was it Tommy Lee? One of the rock stars where like a kid drowned in his pool and it like wasn't his fault at all. It was just like a very unfortunate accident.
But
Mhm.
that's
everybody-
your pool. It's your house. You never get over that. Like,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
never get over that. And I remember like a lot of people when it happened like wanted him to like be very guilty about it forever. And it was like I remember thinking like it was like in no way his fault and like but you would feel that guilt like they died in
Yeah.
my pool, you know? If
Yeah.
I didn't have a pool, like what, you know, it's like all these what ifs that would probably go through your head. So
they
yeah.
died by my dog. Death by
Mhm.
dog.
Yeah. Well, and in Needful Things, which is technically the last Castle Rock story, although that turned out not to be true. Thank goodness, because I like Castle Rock.
I do
But
too.
there is a moment where a character goes out to the old Camber Ranch and there's nobody there, but they hear like growling and it's so
Ghost Cooch?
Ghost Cooge. Yeah.
I
so
like
it's
that.
this idea that this awful thing like kind of outlives what happens. And Sheriff Bannerman is like very popular. That's a huge plot point in the dark half and Needful Things is like, can anybody replace Sheriff Bannerman? So like it is a big deal. But I also think like something I think about at work in my day job all the time is like I think I didn't create this problem. I'm just trying to survive it or navigate it,
Not my
and
circus, not
like
my monkeys.
exactly. But you're stuck there, and like in primate, you have to survive at any cost.
Trust me, you'll find out. I think you guys are really gonna like.
I
The
kind of
want to
watch it tonight because
it's
I think it's
fun.
on streaming now, so let's
It's
go.
fun. Like, don't go in expecting some Oscar award winning
I never
movie.
would.
Okay,
Don't
guys.
worry.
well,
But,
as
like,
the Losers Club chat would say, we love ape movies. So.
I have seen it twice. Like,
my
I
God.
liked it that much. Yeah, but and we have like a bunch of because like the movie gave us all these
Do you still
T-shirts
have
that we were
those?
because we were supposed to hand them out. We were supposed to hand them out
I know.
at a con. So I have a box full of these red shirts that say primate and it says like monkey business on it.
Sammy,
So-
save them for later this summer.
Yes,
Jen and I are coming together.
I need my monkey
I'll
business
supply you
T-shirt.
guys
Okay?
with some fucking Big Ben the Monkey shirts because we've got a whole box.
We can
of
tell
them.
you why
Also-
off air they still have all those too. But
Yeah.
Ooh. Also, I think we are going to have to do a monkey business month. Also, of
Oh, there we go.
ape
I
lady
would-
killer movies. So
There are in Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes. What's her name? Starts with a Z. The female monkey that Helena Bonham Carter goes on to play in the remake, but she
Oh.
has her own like arc in the Planet. She's great. I love her, and she becomes a monkey mom to a monkey baby.
Ooh, monkey.
So, I got really into the Planet
That
of the
is
Apes
some monkey
movies a couple
business.
years
Okay.
ago, and I watched the first one in the same 24 hours. And Mike was like, "Didn't you just watch this last night?" And I was like, "Well, I really liked it. I'm gonna
So?
watch it again."
Is that
So,
a question?
I'm super down for the ape movies.
Yes,
Big-
sweet. Well, okay, yeah, about charity. Sorry, I didn't mean
Sorry.
to derail us with
Sorry.
ape movie. No, I didn't. Yeah, I think like Joe created this situation. And again, it's one of those like unlucky things. Like she won the lottery and then she won the tragedy lottery too. And this just, it just kind of is. But I do think it's interesting to see these two women that could take the overt blame of this. Like if the blame is going to fall on anyone, it is going to be them because of their visible actions. Whereas Vic and Joe are kind of creating this situation that is unsustainable for them, and that's why they're trying to get out, or they're trying to find fulfillment in some other way, and it just ends up in the worst case scenario. So I want to talk about mothers and sons also. I hadn't really thought about it until we covered it, because that's what we do. We talk about women, and we just talked about mothers for an entire month. But both Charity and Donna are trying to protect their sons from monsters. Donna is protecting him from a literal rabid dog, and Charity is trying to protect her son from Joe. And I think, he feels like a typical Joe St. George from Dolores Claiborne. And one of the things that book goes into is like, I also want to protect my son from becoming like this too.
Yeah.
I don't just want to get him away because he might get hurt, but he might turn out to be like Joe when he grows up. And then I also, the part that I always remember that makes me not want to watch this again because I think it's going to be too upsetting, is when Tad is in the car and he's like screaming and crying. He's like, I want daddy. And she just screams, all right, I'll get your daddy, and
Yeah.
I just feel that.
that was a hard.
moment.
Yeah, that was so
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
She was
to
angry,
watch.
but it's not. She's not angry at him. You're angry at the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I look back at times where and look, I've talked about it ad nauseum. My mom wasn't a great mom, but there were definitely some situations in which she snapped at me that she wasn't snapping at me.
Yeah.
There is a greater reason usually, and I think that's like obviously a perfect example of that. She's not snapping at him, she's snapping as like, I can't do anything about this, like you're
Yeah.
making the situation worse right now.
Yeah.
But he's a child, you
Uh-huh.
can't really that's hard to communicate to a kid. I
A
think
4-year-old, yes.
Yeah.
And also, like, she's scared, she's hot, she's tired,
Yeah.
she probably has rabies now,
yes.
and she has to put
I'm
all of that
thirsty
aside.
too.
Yes, exactly. And it's just so I want to talk about what this movie is saying about mothers. Shelby, what do you think?
Well, I want to say like that scene, yeah, that really got to me because it made me, like you, Sammy, I kind of reflected on situations with
Yeah.
my own mother. There was a time when my grandpa died when I was really little. It was her dad. And I remember I have like a vivid memory of she was like on the bathroom floor crying. but I was really little. So I was like, I don't even know what I was
You don't
saying or doing.
understand. Yeah.
But she like screamed at me, like, get away from me. And like, it was so shocking and traumatizing at the time. And my dad just kind of ushered me out and he was very nice.
Yeah.
And looking back, it was like, oh my God, that was not her being a bad mom moment. That was like this fucking, 5-year-old being annoying while you're like grieving your father.
Grief. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. And like, so seeing that moment, it was like just the way she yells it was like, oh my God, it was like that moment. And yeah, where you're like, she's not yelling at him, she's yelling at the situation and she can't fix it. She also has a very complicated relationship with like her own husband right now. So it's kind of like, and through the movie, we see the theme of her not feeling like enough. And that's why she seeks intimacy elsewhere. Again, I don't think this is a bad husband, which is what I like about it. It makes it more complicated. He's not like a terrible husband, but that doesn't make you feel invisible. That doesn't make it you feel any less invisible sometimes. And so it's like, even in this moment of strife when she's trying so hard to save this kid, he's just like, I want the other one, actually. And that's not even what he's saying. He's just scared. Daddy's the one who saves him from the boogeyman in the very beginning of the movie, and it's like, it's just such a beautifully like realistic portrayal of so many different emotions. And I think seeing this mother in a very real way, the affair, being a mother to the son who she loves so much and she wants to protect him from everything. She even like sends him out of the room when what's his face, affair partner, jerk off McGee, and like when he like knocks the milk out of her hands and stuff. And like she like you can see this like horrifying, like, oh no, now my like son is around this. Like, what have I done? These actions are very bad. And I don't know, it just throughout the movie you just see a condensed version of a woman on her worst days, on like the worst days of her life, And so it actually wrapped back around to like, yeah, I do prefer the book ending, but I'm glad they didn't do that for this movie because there's something about seeing this on screen. I mean, we've talked about this before where like some things work in a book and they just don't on screen, because King has a lot of that stuff where it just would be silly on screen, but when you're reading it, you're like, this again, the hand of God. When I read The Stand, I'm always like, oh yes, but then you see it, you see a blue glowing hand of God, and it's kind of like, oh,
with shoddy CGI.
Yeah. And so I think seeing this woman on so many of like just the worst day of her life in so many ways, and he needed to live, and I feel like we needed to see that like relationship be able to go on between a mother and son. And that like this wasn't her fault, and this wasn't something that can't be repaired. And a lot of what everything to do with this movie is very like it's very protecting. And even when she realizes her own like, I hate to, like, but yeah, her own selfishness with this affair is starting to affect this relationship she has with her son, she's immediately like, well, this is a priority, this is number one. And throughout the whole movie we see her choose her son over everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think on the worst day of your life, you still have to be a parent, because your kid doesn't care. And that not that they don't care, they just don't get it, and they can't separate their needs. They can't have that understanding. And trying to like, because I was in a position when I was younger of trying to kind of smooth things over, and that really fucks you up too, So Rachel, what do you think Cujo, the movie, is saying about mothers?
I think it's saying, I think if we're looking at it specifically, like in the kind of the traditional gender roles, historically context kind of way, it's really easy. I can only imagine how easy it is to lose your entire identity into being a mom. Yeah. Because like, even with Donna, it's like, she even says like, I'm doing the errands, I was doing this. And it's just, I think of my own mom. I think it's fair for a lot of us to, it's just like, yeah, she was always there. She was taking to school. The dad was at work, that kind of thing. And then she gets to do all this sort of just keep the house running. And then he gets to come in and write the fun poem and save him from the boogeyman kind of thing and have those sweet bonding moments. And I think it's easy to lose your identity in that. And I think that's what we see Donna struggling with. Jen, you've watched all of Beverly Hills. And it's like that moment where the psychic lady that the show Medium was based on says to Kyle Richards.
With her vape pen.
Yeah, she's like, he will never emotionally fulfill you. And, for Donna, it's like being a mother will never emotionally fulfill you. Like she needs something else, like outside of this. And I think that's what she's looking for with Steve. She's just looking for something else to either like distract her or just have her feel like I need something other than this.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's bored, but I think it's more than that. And I think that's kind of what this movie is saying, and just her frustration. And the thing is, like, I don't think it's saying like, okay, there's this, and then we're going to solve it, and here's the happy ending. I think that's why I kind of like the freeze frame in some ways, because it doesn't give us that. It's just giving us all these events and like allowing us to sort of feel what Donna's feeling, but like we don't see what comes after that, because it's like, who knows? Like, this isn't going to solve everything. But we're just going to pause right here. And just so in like some ways it still is pretty bleak, because it's like her problems aren't solved.
Oh no.
Like, let's be real. She's got
She
some
got rabies.
rabies. She has some tough conversations.
She has bigger problems than she did before.
I kept thinking about the brain damage this kid is going to have because he had all those seizures.
Yeah, he's going to be in therapy forever.
And he like probably died there for a second. Like it looked like she's performing CPR, or like, you know, like bringing him back to life. Like he doesn't look like he's there for a sec.
Yeah. Well, and I think when Trent starts rolling up there, at first I was like, oh shit, he's gonna save the day. And I love that he doesn't get there in time. She does all of this. It's not even him with that last diehard gunshot, you know. And I love this idea that she can be struggling with whether she's emotionally fulfilled by being a mother and still be a good mother. She can still be a strong mother. She can still take care of her child and wrestle with all of this, you know.
Yeah, I think that's important. I'm glad that they did that, because she's perfectly capable of being a good mom, and like, of course she loves her kid, but I'm sure it's frustrating. It's also frustrating to be a mom. Like, you don't have to be perfect all the time to be a mom. And I'm sure, like, I can only imagine the pressure there is there. So like, I like that it's showing that, but also showing that, she might not be happy at this moment, but at the end of the day, of course she's going to protect her fucking kid as much as she can.
Yeah. Sammy, what do you think?
My mom wouldn't have. Maybe she would have. I would like to think so. I don't know. But I think it's saying that motherhood is an endurance test, you know? Like, it's not you're in a marathon, not a sprint type of thing. And I do think that, you know, a mother's love is tested not by perfection, as Rachel was saying, but by her willingness to fight to the death to save her child and sort of undo her own mistakes that way. I feel like by saving him, she's kind of coming to terms with what she did, and she's making it right. And I do feel that her guilt and her affair sort of mirrors the physical torment that they endure in the car. Like, the isolation in the car represents this sort of crushing weight of parental responsibility, where like a single lapse in judgment can bring like this devastating karma down on an innocent child, like we see happen to Tad. And I do think that, like, unlike many Hollywood survival films that provide sort of like a neat bow of redemption arc where a mother becomes this idolized hero, this adaptation feels like a more grounded approach. Like, she does the thing, but she doesn't do it because she's some superhuman person, you know? She does it because she's a mom and she could get it done, but she might not have gotten it done, you know? And I don't think she ever gets like a clean, flawless victory. And that's sort of reflective of how our society can, you know, be entirely unforgiving toward mothers who deviate from traditional domestic expectations, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's what I see it saying too, is that it's just really scary to be a mom. And it's kind of, you know, we joke about like when you're in the hospital and you're holding this tiny baby and you're like, I'm supposed to keep this thing alive. You know, I'm taking this tiny little creature who can't even hold their head up, and I am responsible for it. And it is terrifying. And we kind of just, you have to live with that, because every moment it's scary. Like, I remember on Aaron, my son's first Halloween, he got this croup cough. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I just was like, I was holding him all night and just like listening to him breathe, and like, is he going to breathe again? You know, and it was just over and over and over again, worrying that he was going to stop breathing. And it's really, really scary. They talk about like, it's like wearing your heart on your sleeve, because you just can't protect as much, you know? And I think I don't often have nightmares. I don't often remember my dreams. And I talked about my whole fucked up thing with sleep in our Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Child episode, so I won't go into that. But one of the few nightmares I remember having is about the movie Searching. Have y'all seen that?
Oh, yeah.
It's the found footage movie where there's a child that's missing, and they're trying to like go through social media.
It's all, like,
posts.
all computer screens.
Yes.
Yeah. Screen Life
okay.
movie.
Yeah,
I
and
do
it's
remember that.
I enjoyed the movie. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I do remember that night I had a nightmare that my kid fell down this like ravine into a water and I just couldn't get him. And so it was just it was so scary. And then I think I might have also talked about this, but we went to Dollywood a couple of years ago and my kid wanted to ride a roller coaster and we got there and I was sitting right next to him and as it started, he looked at me and he was terrified and he was like, make it like essentially like no, make it stop, make
I
it
want
stop.
out. Yeah.
And I was like, I can't. And it was like it was traumatic. I feel like
that's literally Final Destination.
What could you do?
Yeah. I was like, I can't, because I couldn't do it. I was like, we're going to be okay. We just got to get through it. And so as I'm watching this movie too, I was thinking about that moment. Also, my kid Aaron looked like Tad when he was little. He's got blonde hair. Yeah. So it's just like I watch it, even talking about it makes my stomach kind of drop because it's just like she can't do anything. She's trapped. She knows her kid needs her to protect him.
And if she dies, he's for sure dying.
Exactly. That's the thing. Yeah. And there's a fucking dog out there. Like if she, like it's scary. And I think that's the thing that we forget sometimes is that moms are still scared of this stuff, you know? And like, you just have to do it. And
you don't have all the answers. It's not like you magically pop out a baby and like, oop, now you know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the same age that my mom would have had a 12-year-old daughter, and I'm scared every day of everything. So it's like, it's not like you magically become an adult or like more of an adult. You know what I mean? Like,
they don't
you can
tell
still
you
be
shit.
that little kid. Yeah.
Or they tell you 10 different things that all conflict with each other. And you're like, what am I supposed to believe? So it's just like, I think this movie is one of them. This and like the Babadook, I think, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point.
For sure.
And they're doing slightly different things. But I think these two movies really get at what it feels like to be that scared that you are going to fail your child and your child is going to die because you made a mistake that you didn't even know you were making until it's too late.
And you had no idea it had anything to do with him. Like the affair where it's like, it's the compartmentalization of like, this has nothing to do with my son. I mean,
exactly.
Honestly, maybe
he's never gonna know. He won't understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what's crazy too is like, I'm sure I haven't read the book, but I'm sure that comes into play at some point in her head when she's like trapped in this car. It's like, I don't know. I'm not trying to. I'm coming off really bad in this episode. I'm like, why can't a girl just have an affair? Why can't she? Why can't the kid just die? Why can't she? Why can't he? Huh?
Well, but I mean, and I think
women
this
in
is
male-dominated fields.
Yeah, exactly. Why do the men get to do all this stuff?
Why not for a bored housewife?
Why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I?
Yeah.
But I think like that's part of what makes these kind of stories so powerful is like that we get to talk about these what ifs, you know, that like are probably not going to happen to us or anybody we know, but the feeling is there, you know, like I can talk about being afraid for my kid on a roller coaster in the context of this and say, it felt like this, because if I just say it was a scary roller coaster, you don't quite feel the weight of it, you know? And I think that's part of what art does for us, you know? And just for the record, I'm going to jump the gun and say, yes, we know murder is bad. Yes, we know like it's bad if this were to happen in real life, but like we're talking about our feelings about life and, you know, just trying to be perfect and survive and, you know, and it's complicated. And that doesn't mean we want people to have affairs. Although, you know what? Have an affair. Like,
whatever you
if
want.
you're not my husband.
That's coming from me who
like
was married to someone who had a crazy affair. And weirdly, in hindsight, not even hindsight, because it's like has nothing done with that. Weirdly, since my divorce, I've been like weirdly like, I don't care.
Go for it.
Like, I mean, it's one of those things where
I think that's indicative of the world around us right now.
I think so too. Like we got
there's
bigger
a lot of
problems.
apathy,
Have an affair.
you know? Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Fuck, the world is ending, guys. We're not going to have clean water. So go fuck someone.
Also, like, again, if you're not married to me, it's not my business.
It's not my problem. Not my circus.
You do your thing, you know, not my primate, you know.
Not my Ben. His name is Ben.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to put Ben on our bingo card.
He's a pet. He's their pet. So it's not like some random jungle monkey.
Not just any monkey.
Don't own exotic animals.
That is also a good lesson.
That's also a good lesson. Yeah. Don't own an exotic pet.
Don't be a tiger king. Don't be chimp crazy.
No. Yes. Okay, it's bad to do that, but our next category is good. So let's talk about it in Good for Her.
Claiming she could take it no more, the young mother released the emergency brake, allowing her car to roll backwards into the nearby lake. Good for her.
Yes, we know murder is bad.
So good.
Okay, the monster word. I love these monster words. Just there's
They're
I don't
so
know. There's
cute.
kind
It's
of
like it's
they
a good
are.
little poem. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, I am going to read that passage from the
Yay.
book that I'm going to try
Protect
not to
us from some
cry.
monsters.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I can read the monster words.
Oh, I thought.
although-
Oh, okay. I
Oh
was
no,
like,
I
are
was
you
going to read
done?
another passage.
Okay,
Can
I
you
wonder
also
if I
read the
still know
monster
them.
words?
Monsters. What?
Yes.
Just the repetition of "you have no business here." I just
love
remember
that.
thinking that, and I was like, I love how like formal that is.
It's a
You see,
mantra.
I had to put my
Yeah.
old lady reading glasses on because
No, I think they make you
It's
look
okay.
astute.
I've got mine sitting
Thank
right
you.
here, so I can hardly see our notes right now, but vanity.
Yeah, true. Exactly. I know. Okay, so here's what I'm going to read. It's on page 303. It would perhaps not be amiss to point out that he, Cujo, had always tried to be a good dog. He had tried to do all the things his man and his woman, and most of all his boy, had asked or expected of him. He would have died for them if that had been required. He had never wanted to kill anybody. He had been struck by something, possibly destiny or fate, or only a degenerative nerve disease called rabies. Free will was not a factor. I didn't expect that to, I know.
Oh,
Right?
He was. He didn't try. He didn't do
wanted to be a
anything
good
wrong.
boy.
Being from reading that from the POV of like, because you would call like you don't know their name, you would
Yeah.
just call them a boy, like the dog.
And it's in
like
all caps, his man and the woman and the boy.
Oh,
And
I
it's just,
hate it.
I know. And
I mean, I love it, but I hate it.
it's just because it's after talking about what happened to him, and like
Yeah.
what the end of his story is.
We deserve his side of the story too. We do.
We
He deserves to
do.
tell his story.
Well, and I think about that. I didn't expect it to relate to what we were talking about with Donna
Yeah.
and Charity, but it was like they were trying to do the best they could. Everybody in this story, except Steve Kemp, is trying to do the best they can. Maybe Joe too and Gary. Okay, the women in this story are trying to do the best
they can.
They're just trying to get by. Maybe they make a couple of mistakes, but none of them are like mistakes that you should have to pay for with your life or with the life of your child. And I think about this with like what this movie means to me. So what I want to talk about with all of our monster attack movies is because in the movie, at least, we can't get into Cujo's brain and we can't say, what is Cujo thinking when he's doing this? What does he want? The way we do with characters or human characters. But what is it that Cujo is symbolizing here? And what are we taking away from the animal attack and the movie itself? And I think for me, especially reading that passage, I think of it as like addiction, and like
Yeah.
what happens to you when you are overcome with just being drunk. And I say that, I'm about to have, I think it's 13 years sober. So like the last night I drank was when my older kid was like 1. And I just have this memory. One of the few things I remember of that night is, and everything was fine, but Corey and I got in a fight and my kid saw it. And I just remember thinking like, I can't do
that
this anymore,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think
there are a whole lot of other moms that should have made that decision and they don't.
I was gonna say that.
Just from personal experience, that takes a lot to do that.
well, and I am lucky to have had a really supportive partner who was, he wasn't thrilled with me the next day, but he's always been helpful.
No one's
he's
ever thrilled with me the next day.
What's funny, we had to take Charlie to the vet the next day, and I just remember I was like, I'm gonna
hungover, fuck. It's the worst, man.
But I read that passage and I hear Stephen King saying like, I'm struggling with this. And I don't even think he realizes he's writing about himself at that point, which is something he said about The Shining too.
He tried to be a good dad.
He tried to be a good dad. And it's this
yeah.
like, once you have drank so many beers, the free will goes away and you can't do it. And I imagine him writing this book and part of him picturing himself as Cujo and Tabitha and the kids in their house,
it's the dark half. That's why the dark half I feel like is so him.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
there is like, I just, again, from experience, and it's almost like a multiple personality disorder sometimes.
Yeah.
And somebody like everyone, like, even if you're a happy drunk or a nice drunk, like which I consider myself to be, it's still a different version of you sober.
It is,
you know?
yeah,
So,
it's like you're possessed. It could be a
yeah,
good possession.
of the,
It could be a
yeah,
bad
the
possession.
ghost of bad decisions.
Yeah.
And especially when we're talking about blackouts too. Like there are
Oh,
things
yeah.
that I've been told that I've done, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think I
didn't
would
do
do that.
that.
But
I would
There are-
never do
There
that.
are people I've been told that I've done it. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm like, no,
you're
no,
like,
there's
"See
no way.
that? No.
I'm watching Summer House right now too, and they're just shit faced all the time too. And I'm like, I cannot imagine what it would be like to watch that show and see yourself in that.
Oh,
I
God.
asked
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the Bachelor in Paradise
my
guys
text
one
messages
time
the
about
next day.
it.
Oh,
And, like,
yeah?
Yeah, I did this, like, I was audience for this, like, talk show that didn't happen. It was what's his face, Morgan Spurlock. He had like a pilot for a talk show. I would say RIP, but we can take off the P for that guy. But like he had one of the Bachelor in Paradise contestants on there. I can't remember who it was now, but we were like, they wanted audience questions. So I asked about like getting inebriated on the show. And I was like, do the
Yeah.
producers, because like now we all know, but it was kind of at the time where like they were trying to pretend that like the producers didn't do that. And I
Yeah.
remember they talked about cutting that question because he was like, oh yeah, the producers, like we don't remember half of what happens on that show. Like watching it is like, and like they
Yeah.
were kind of like, let's do another question. And I was like,
Mhm. So we don't get sued, yes.
Yeah.
Which we may have more to say on that coming up. Not that specific thing, but you know, messy reality shows, you know. But Shelby, I wanted to not like that's my interpretation of this story.
Mhm.
That's what I take away from it. But I don't want to limit that because I know there's a lot of different ways to read it. So, Shelby, what do you think Cujo is symbolizing? What do you take away from Cujo?
yeah, I think maybe it is because I also know a lot about King. I mean, again, I talked about reading on writing like so many times, and he has a passage in there where he talks about Tabitha like throwing away his
He does.
drugs, and he like
Mhm.
lost his goddamn mind about it.
Yeah.
I had that happen with my ex. My ex was an addict, and I threw away his drugs one time, and oh my god,
They don't
won't
like
get-
that.
They
they
don't.
don't
It's
like
dangerous.
that. Yeah, we won't talk
They
about what
really
happened
don't
after,
like
but
it.
it was not good, and it
Yeah.
was bad. It was very bad, and it was like dealing with a monster, and it's like dealing with, like you said, Rachel, like a possessed person. It's like this is that you're not here anymore.
Yeah,
Like this is, and like Cujo wasn't there anymore. The good boy
And he
wasn't
was
there
like
anymore.
desperately trying to get back. Like you can by like saying that you said that he kind of knew something was wrong at first. That means like Cujo was realizing he didn't want to hurt his boy. Like
Yeah.
he's half there. He's fighting it. Like
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that happens in Primate too.
Oh,
Yeah, poor monkey.
but yeah, I agree. I couldn't read it any other way. I guess maybe because I know so much about King, having been with an addict for so long, and like seeing that change, and like seeing this personification of dogification of a monster, and like of addiction, and seeing like you are the monster and everything you love is in this car, and they're about to die, and it is your fault. And even though you don't want it to be your fault, like Cujo in the book where he's like, no, I don't want to hurt them. I think the camera angles did a good job at Cujo almost seeming lucid sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
which was horrifyingly sad.
Like coming
And-
to and then being
Yeah,
like,
you know, and like
Mhm.
I feel like I saw that in the camera angles that they used, and I feel like that is, I mean, what's a better representation of addiction and deep addiction of like, oh, I am the monster. They are
Yeah.
why I'm why they're scared. I'm why they're about to die. And I'm why all these other people's lives were destroyed too. And like I think that's, I'm not going to say that's the only way it could be read. I agree. It can be read very many other ways, but like coming from my own personal experience and knowledge, like that's how I also read it was that.
Rachel, what about you?
Yes, I agree. That's for sure there. This time I did kind of think like this whole movie is kind of just like a warning for the procrastinators and the avoiders of the world.
That's
You know,
that's what I took
like
from it as well, Rachel.
Yeah, this time I can't even remember exactly what she says, but Donna has this phrase where she's like overdone and gone.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, oh, you got a scratch there. Oops. Okay, well, you're okay now. Overdone and gone. But like the
Mhm.
scratch is still there.
Yes.
And I think that tells us actually a lot about Donna
Mhm.
and just the way where it's like, okay, well, we're just not going to like think about that anymore. Right. And, you know, and it's like, well, but the wound is still there. And not that
Yeah.
he's in pain or anything, but I think it's kind of like a symbolic way to look
Pushing
at
it
this.
under the rug.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, I think like obviously it's like, yeah, she probably, maybe she should have had a conversation with her husband before she had an affair, but she didn't. And then it's like, she ends the affair, but it's still kind of awkward. And I feel like clearly that there was something that either happened or some need or something that wasn't being addressed that sort of perhaps led to that. And not to blame her, but like there's other ways to handle that sort of situation or those feelings, I think. And I think it just seems like she's just kind of pushing things off a little bit or not wanting to address them. And then at some point, it's going to come to a head. And whether or not that's your husband finding out, or, even with Cujo, the fact that like, okay, you could have taken him to the vet to get this wound looked at. You could have gotten him vaccinated, but you didn't. And now he's got rabies and he's attacking people. Or even their cars. The fact that Vic was like prioritized his Jaguar and got that fixed first. And then he forgot to take her car in. And now her car's not working. And now it's broken down. And now the dog is outside the window. So it's like, it's kind of like sometimes just you can only shove so much stuff under a rug before, it turns a molehill into a mountain instead of the other way around.
Yeah.
And so I think you can play into the addiction idea. Like it can spiral, like things spiral until it becomes this beast that you cannot control. And so I think we see that idea really displayed in like a lot of fun ways. And yeah, sometimes just saying like overdone and gone, like your problem is still there. Like you can like pretend that everything's fine all you want, but at some point that's not necessarily gonna be the case, and it's gonna bubble over. It's gonna boil over.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times when you're a parent, you're not going to be the one that pays. It's going to be your kid. That like I'm thinking about my kid had to have a lot of dental work because Corey and I were having a lot of fights, and it was just we were trying to get through the day, and it was too much to we were not diligent about making sure the kids were flossing, and it turned out to bite my child, and I have a lot of guilt from that, Sammy, what do you think?
So I agree with Rachel. That is absolutely how I took it. I think it's kind of highlighting how fragile our everyday, comfortable lives are, and how quickly like a routine errand can turn into a life or death struggle. I think he serves as a cautionary tale about familial neglect, and a reminder that the failure to properly care for your pets or, your cars or your relationships, like to communicate within a marriage can have these devastating ripple effects. That was something I definitely don't feel like I picked up on as a kid as it was playing in the background, it was Scary Dog and that was it, But I do think this should be like with that in mind, sort of an essential viewing for all adults, or like, coming of age adults, like young adults, whether you're a real parent or a pet parent, it does sort of prep you to be like, you have to take care of certain shit. Like, I've learned that the hard, like you have to go to the doctor, you have to go to the dentist, you have to, eat right. Like there are things that are going to eventually come back around, and I might not have learned all of them and might take me a couple more years. But I do think this, like, this viewing, sort of really push that down my throat a little bit. And I also think he represents sort of the scariest idea to me, which is, the indifference of fate and how chaos can kind of strike at any moment. And like life can change pretty catastrophically due to just pure bad luck. And that is a very, very scary thing to me. But yeah, I think there's no wrong way, obviously, to interpret him, because the dog is a metaphor,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
It is. I think we're going to be talking about that a lot this month.
Yes.
Because, we like a metaphor.
I will say I'm overdue for the dentist, and now I'm like, if you don't go,
I was supposed to go
Cujo's gonna get
yesterday,
you.
or on Memorial Day, but they made an appointment for me on Memorial Day, and then they called, and it took me like a long time to get in, because it's really hard to get into these fucking dentists. So I get a call, and they're like, we're actually closed on Memorial Day. It was literally like April in that Parks and Rec episode when she plans all of the for March 31st.
From one day.
So like, I imagine this poor receptionist is probably having to call everyone to be like, we're actually closed on Memorial Day. So who knows when I'll get in, because my gums are receding. So
Well,
no.
I am overdue to take my cats to the vet, so
We don't want them getting rabies.
No,
Jen.
they're already would be murderous if they were
Yeah.
bigger. You know,
I do think so as well. I've seen them.
That's part of what I love
videos.
about them. They're little lady killers, and I would die for them. But would we die for Cujo? Let's find out in our penultimate category: Die for me.
Look at her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss.
This is a section where we give our final thoughts and decide would we die for her. Shocking. I'm going to die for Cujo. I would probably die for the book first because I love this book so much. I've read it. I lost count of how many times I've read it or listened to it. I just really love it. Again, going to recommend Rattlesnakes if you haven't read that. And the rest of the stories in You Like It Darker are incredible too. It's one of his best short story collections, I think, and it's the most recent, which means he's still got it.
That's a large feat because I think Night Shift is his like best short story collection, but I've not read that one, so it's like
It's
just
oh,
to
it's so
hear
good.
that long after he's still knocking out those short stories.
Whew.
Like that is it's nice because Mike really liked it too.
He did. Yeah, I think we were
Yeah.
on that episode together
Yeah.
because we always love talking about the short stories. My hot take is that Skeleton Crew is the best short story collection, but I
Wow.
will die on that hill on our Losers Club episode. We didn't really talk a whole lot about the mechanics of the movie. If you want to listen to a lot of our discussion about that, let's check out Rachel and I's episode on the Losers Club again. It's just a really well-made movie too, and I think that's like this and Misery are really hard watches for me because I
Yeah.
feel them and they pull things out of me that I'm like, I don't know if I wanted to look
They're
at that
both
today.
sympathetic, messy women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every time I want to just tell Annie it's gonna be okay.
I know. Like, there's probably some medication that would really help you,
I could
Annie.
give her a suggestion or two.
Exactly.
I'm on several of them, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, I'm absolutely going to die for this. I'm going to die for this movie too. I don't know when I'll watch it again. Probably the next time I talk about it
across
on
the
Losers
board,
Club.
do we all think this is good for her?
Oh, I forgot about good
That's
for
okay.
her.
Because let's just say it because I
Yes,
think we all
yes, good for her.
Yes.
It's
we
a
all
mom.
think I think it might not be if the ending was in the book ending might feel
Yeah.
a little less good for her, but this one
Yeah.
feels good for H.
Yeah,
Sammy,
good
thank
for
you so
her.
much for reminding me. I completely forgot to ask if
I
this was good
sometimes
for her.
can
heart.
remember things and sometimes I can't. And today you caught me
Well.
on a day where I hadn't smoked too much before
Aw,
the
nice.
recording. So
Well, you pulled me out of
I
the
did. But I just wanted to quickly assure listeners that we all think this is good for
We
her.
do. Yeah, and I think that's part of why I would die for Donna too, is
Yes,
because she
yes.
gets to be a flawed but
Hot
strong
Donna.
mother.
Yes.
You know, hot Donna, yeah.
I always
Uh,
think of that.
Well, Sammy, since you saved me, are you gonna die for Cujo?
I would die for Cooge. I mean, come on, look at him.
Yeah.
Look at him. I have 3 of them on me.
Cooge.
Yeah, these ones in the background. I forgot to tell the story of really quickly when Jen and I were in Maine, and I don't know if you remember this, Jen, but when we were at Stephen King's house and we were pulling up, when we first drove up, someone was walking their Saint Bernard
That's
past his
right.
house.
Oh my
You
god!
saw
all-
Cujo?
We saw Cujo, and we all freaked out, and I yelled Cujo out the window. The woman looked so irritated by me because I can only imagine
don't
how
walk
often
your
she
Saint
would
Bernard
have
every
that.
single
Yeah, like I cannot believe I almost forgot to tell that story because it was
I
it was
forgot.
incredible. I'll never forget. Like just looking over, like seeing the house with his little Indian Native American totem and everything,
Oh, I
and then
cried.
we freaked out, and just little Cooge walked by. So
Little
Cooge
Cooge,
lives in Stephen
Cooge.
King's neighborhood. Hopefully,
does.
that was many years ago. So I hope he is still out there barking.
Probably.
But yes, I absolutely would die for Donna. And not just because she's played by one of my favorite moms in cinema. I love this movie not only for the themes we've discussed today, but because of those insane technical feats that you're mentioning, for both Cujo and the actors behind the camera. Shelby mentioned that she and Mike interviewed Dee Wallace, and it was an incredible interview. She was like crying at one
She
point.
was crying,
It was really
yeah.
emotionally charged. It was a beautiful interview.
I think that's
Um,
on the Losers Club feed too.
I think he did.
you
Yes,
listened
it's,
to
I
that.
think
it's
it is,
incredible. I was just listening to her talk was really really moving. And she said this was the hardest thing she'd ever done, and it's the film that she's the most proudest of. Like, they had to put her on adrenal supplements after, because she blew out all of her adrenals during all. It was just relentless, she said. And they treated her for exhaustion for 3 weeks after.
Jeez.
Her body went through, like, it was like they chemically went through the fight or flight, and she could not get rid of it for weeks after. So she went through quite a bit to get this beautiful, incredible, part that she's given to us. And so, by golly, I think she deserves someone to die for her, and not just the dog that she killed.
Shelby, what about you? Are you going to die for Cujo or Donna?
Or both of them, honestly. Definitely. And I still don't know if I'll ever read it. Sorry. I won't ever be a completionist, maybe, but because I don't. And this movie, I'm sure I'll rewatch it one day. Tomorrow, not. I won't. But it's just, it really got to me.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon. And I'm so glad to finally actually watch it and have the full appreciation for the full story. Again, I always knew kind of the beats, but seeing it all together and seeing just a real life messy mother going through it and protecting her son, it was just all so grounded, so much more grounded in reality than I could have ever imagined. And the feats of filmmaking, I was also kind of cringed out because I was like, well, maybe it'll be a little bit of an easy watch because the animatronic, everything they do with the dog is going to look so bad because it's of the year it was made, and then it didn't.
Great.
It looked really good. It was really good and gross, and I had to put away my yogurt because there was just so much snot and stuff, and it was so. Just from a horror standpoint, I know we've talked about a lot of emotional, fluffy stuff, but from a horror standpoint, it's a really good monster movie.
Yes,
it
really
really
is.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rachel, are you going to die for Cujo?
I am totally going to die for this movie. Not rewatch it, probably for a good while, because I don't know what other pod I'm going to cover this for, but but totally. And it's because it's so effective. It really is effective in multiple ways. It's gross. It's very emotionally intense. Thank you to everybody for putting up with Rambo, who, not surprisingly, had a lot to say.
I'm waiting for his Letterboxd review.
I know.
More than ever. And I think the only thing, he might want to add to this is big boys aren't always scary.
They're not always scary.
They can be, they're good boys too.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you see a big dog standing there doesn't mean that they're scary and bad. Because he gets those looks sometimes too. And it's he's literally the sweetest dog in the whole world. So just don't always judge a book by its cover. But if it's this one, you totally can, because it's a great cover.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. And on that note, let's wrap up with what's coming next.
Unlock the next configuration. And then the last. No. I've done enough. Enough is a myth.
If you want to follow the show, you can do that on Twitter at The Lady K Pod and on Instagram at The Lady Killers Pod. You can find me. I have another podcast. I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, called The Losers Club, where we talk a lot about Stephen King. We are finishing, actually, this will release right after we've dropped our next ranking episode, where we talked about some of the books that we mentioned in this episode. You'll have to listen to find out which ones I'm talking about. And you can also find Rachel and I talking about The Boys on the Girls on the Boys. And Stephen King came up there too, just a little bit. But Sammy, where can listeners find you?
As always, you guys can find me at SRK Doll on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd, all of the platforms. And you guys have been awesome online. And you can always find me on the Lady Killers account too.
And Shelby, where can listeners find you?
You can find me on the Scary to Sleep podcast every Friday and the Bloody Disgusting podcast every Wednesday. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can find me at Shelby B. Novak on Instagram.
And Rachel, where can listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Letterboxd at The Vinyl Girl. And on Halloweenies, we just did a really fun commentary on As Above, So Below last night. So that was a delight. And we're just our episode on Hellraiser 4 just dropped. And then, Hellraiser 5 and The Omen 4. So lots of devilish, dark, but silly content going on over there as well on Halloweenies.
Awesome. And that is it for our episode on Cujo and the first of our series on animal attacks. Thank you so much to my esteemed panel listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like this episode, please give us a quick rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Really helps people find the pod and it makes us feel good. We also love getting your Spotify comments. You know, we want to hear what you think about Cujo. What's your favorite cereal? You know? I can't remember some of. Have you seen Ape Movie? Do you like primates?
Have you seen Ape Movie?
Are you up to monkey business? We need to know.
Is your dog named Cujo?
Yes. So yes, comment there. We love to hear from you. And we are going to be back next week with a bit of a lighter movie. I'm so fucking excited.
So pumped for this.
I put my Holly hat on earlier, but now I'm about to put on my hat that is like a shark's fin because we are watching Deep Blue Sea. I'm so excited.
DBS.
But until then, remember, ladies and ladies, support women's rights, support women's wrongs, and please get your pets spayed and neutered. Get them all their shots.
Bob Barker.
Adopt, don't shop. Ooh.